Hello, welcome back to the 90s Mad Podcast, your podcast for all things Newcastle United, hosted by two lifelong Newcastle United supporting buddies, myself, D-Man, joined as usual by my co-host Jefferson. How you doing, sir?
What's good, my brother? Oop, whoops, sorry. A bit of
Good?
background noise there. What's good, bro? What's good, man? Good to be back in the house as always. International break. So it's
Yeah,
a bit dense, but we thought, we'd add a little bit of flavour to the omelette. Why not?
why not? Why not? You know what I mean? It's hard to talk about Newcastle in the international break, especially how we left it before the break. But yeah, man, we got a guest in today. First time on the show. We got Carnell, fan of the show. How you doing,
Hello,
sir?
hello. Yes,
Good?
good. Thank you. Yes, thank you for having
Welcome.
me.
Yeah,
Thank
man.
you
Good to
very
have you
much.
on, man. Good to
Good
have
to
you
be
on.
here, man.
Yeah, we'll be
Good to
interested
be
to know your thoughts on how things are with Newcastle, but we'll get to that. But those in the chat, don't forget, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Tell a friend to tell a friend. We are currently on, I think, 595 subscribers, so we're trying to get to 600 by the end of the show. So let's
Get
get there.
those likes up.
If you ain't subscribed, hit the subscribe button and obviously like as well. But be much appreciated. But let's use in the chat. We got Chavoy in the building. How you doing, Chavoy? Hope you're good. Hope you're good. We got David in the building. Hope you're good, David. And Dom. Not even a hello. He's just come in and said, "Get the PE teacher and his nephew."
Yes.
We got Dom. We got
Bloodline.
Dom. Hope you're good. Hope you're good. And we got who else did I see? Jimmy. Jimmy's in the building. How are you doing, Jimmy?
Big up,
Hope
Jim.
you're good. Hope you're good.
Chelsea fan.
Connor, as usual, initial greeting. How
Yes,
out?
Connor.
Big up,
Yeah.
Con.
And big up Dubsy in the building. Hope you're good. Hope you're good. Is that Dubsy from Twitter? Is it Dubsy? If it is, then big up
It
yourself.
might
Big
be,
up yourself.
It might be.
Yeah. And big up David as well. Get this bloody document. Wow. And
I love to see people start to see the light.
But we got to keep a bit of balance. So we got Kenny in the building. He said Jude is available for Spurs.
Wow, desperate times.
But yeah, like Connor said, hit the like button on your way in, support the channel. And like I said, if you haven't subscribed, help us get to 600 subscribers by the end of the show. That'd be much appreciated. But yeah, listen, we got who's this? Someone supporting love for the pod. So big up yourself. Big up. Big Yinks in the building as well. So there we go. We got another guest hopefully joining in later on in the show. So stay tuned for that. Someone you probably know anyway. But yeah, got a lot to discuss. You know, it's international break, but you know, times are never boring with Newcastle United. We're going to discuss the season so far. You know, where we think we're going to go for the rest of the season, and of course, the man of the moment, Eddie Howe. Yeah, we're going to have a long discussion about Eddie. Yeah, but we'll start with you, Carnell. You know, as you're the guest here. Just a quick question now. What are your overall thoughts on the season so far? What were your expectations at the beginning of the season, and how have you seen the season so far?
Boy, you know what? Expectations. I didn't actually. I don't want to sit here and say that I expected us to be where we are right now, but I didn't think I wasn't positive going into the season, given the extra competitions, the Champions League. I thought we'd do all right in the Champions League, but I knew I could see this fall off of the league form and the league position falling away, because this is exactly what happened the first time we got into Europe with Howe. And granted, back then our squad wasn't as our squad probably wasn't ready for it back then. But this time round, for me, we had a much better squad. We should have been more prepared for these competitions. He's had time to learn from what happened 2 years ago. So yeah, I expected us to do. I thought we'd get top 8 in the Prem, and I thought we would get sort of probably where we got to in the Champions League, to be honest. And yeah, like probably we're kind of where we're league wise we're worse off than I thought we would be, but otherwise everything's kind of panned out as I expected.
Okay. And for you, what was, you say it had panned out you expected, but what for you was the lowest point of the season so far?
Oh boy, it's got. There's been a few, innit? There's been a few, boy, but it's got to be the last week, the week of the the 7-2 battering, and then the Sunderland losing to them twice. It's just, that's probably got to be the lowest point of the season. But like, it was always going to be a rough season. Obviously, it started off rough before the season started in the summer. So we knew it was going to be a rough season, but no one knew it was going to be this bad, bro.
Bro, you got a fan already, bro. I hope that's a girl, you know.
That's probably the missus, you know.
Babe, make sure you come in and tell him I look nice, yeah?
Get in there early. Set the tone.
Love that.
Thank you, babes. I know that's you.
But right, no love for the rest of us, innit?
That helps in the narrative. We're not all villains here. You see that? We got a heart. You know what I'm saying?
Trust me.
Colin said the lowest is the losing twice.
It's got to be. It's got to be that, man. Nothing like that's unacceptable. And you know what? Any other club in the league, I feel like the managers get sacked for that.
Yeah. I mean, it actually said on the back of the 7-2 battering, like Kenny said, that was the lowest point of the season. But Connor also said that also losing 22 points from winning position. So, Jefferson, what would you say? What would you say was the lowest point of the season so far? We've been discussing quite a few. I mean, you've got the West Ham, you've got Brentford, you've got Sunderland, obviously Barcelona. What for you was it?
I mean, I think the first derby defeat for me was a juncture where I felt like I was quite low, because I think at that time I was still, you know me, I was Eddie out, but I just felt that pressure of I have to give him a chance. So in my head, it was 10-12 game range. And when it pulled that defeat there, I was like, nah, this is it. And I don't care how well Sunderland are playing, to kind of lose to a championship side where literally the season and a half before then, we smashed them in their backyard in the FA Cup. That was a realization for me. And then it was obviously compounded later on down the line by the 7-2 defeat. But I'm going to be real with you, not that I expected a 7-2 defeat, but I expected a heavy-ish defeat. Like, I wasn't surprised by how that went down by then. Do you see what I'm saying? So expectation levels have come well down by that point. You know, the season's been long gone for a while.
Okay, so big up MB79 said evening. Hope you're good, MB. Hope you're good. Jimmy said definitely need to have realistic expectations. Newcastle just seems stale right now. You can't get rid of the team, so the manager has to go.
Such a good point. It's such a good point.
Jim, just out of interest, you guys got rid of Maresca. Obviously, that was due to the fallout with Bowley. We've seen how it's happened since Maresca's gone. Would you take Eddie Howe to replace Rosinia at Chelsea, just out of interest?
Well, yeah, that's a good question, because a lot of people from the Happy Clapper side will say, you know, if Eddie goes, a lot of the big teams will be picking him up, which I completely disagree with. Yeah, I don't think there's a single big club who will take him. I don't think there's a single one, but I might be wrong in it. Chabrel said, big up Chabrel, said, everyone is entitled to their opinion, but the Happy Clapper cult are completely deluded. This club will not move forward without a top-level manager.
I think we're at a very important point in the club, and this, like, if he doesn't leave, if we don't make a move, that one of those comments are very important, where he said about it's either we're going to lose a load of players or we need to lose the manager. Something's got to give.
Well, that's the thing. We're going to talk about the players because there's obviously continued speculation about players attracting interest from other clubs. So we'll go through the list of players anyway. So big up. We've got Cuff in the building. Hope you're good, Cuff. Hope you're good.
We got
Cuff. What's your opinion on the season so far, Cuff, and where we think we finished towards the end of the season? Because I'm very interested.
Kenny's abandoned you, Cuff. Kenny's abandoned you, mate. You're on your own.
Big up Lee in the building as well.
Big up Lee.
Here we go with Kante. Here we go, Kante. Yes, rabbit in my know, yeah. But what Kenny said? What he said now? Thought they said that Happy Clapper is someone who supports the team, win, lose, or draw, like 100,000 do every week. Listen, we all support the team, win, lose, or draw. It's the manager we got a problem with, yeah, and that's where the divide happens. Because
and it's the way we lose as well. That's the thing. It's the way we've been losing all season. Earlier there was 23 points lost from winning positions. It's the fact. That's the thing. It's the fact that all the stats are there. Everyone can see that there's a problem, but he hasn't changed anything, and he says we haven't had time to train. It's like I don't know what he does. I don't know what he does, bro. He talks
Well, we're
about
about to
working
find
so
out.
hard.
We're about to find out with one game a week. We're about to find out, innit? So
The maddest thing is, I mean, we haven't even gone into all the historical stuff, which I think we should at some point, and see if people in the chat agree with us. But if you look at the stable point as to why he's not good enough and why he should go, tactical inflexibility, and he's very predictable, poor in-game management and subs. I think was it Ben from the Noise said him and his mates play a game where they know it's going to be 60, 65 or 70
Yeah.
minutes. D-man, me, you and AC were doing that from time ago. Yeah. The defense at the moment, what we built ourselves on in 22-23, we had was it the joint best defense in the league with Arsenal? Do you remember?
Yeah.
Now we can see goals for fun. So that's fragile.
Go for fun.
The player, what do you call it? Like looking after the player health. So we've mismanaged the squad and the injuries. I mean, that's been a historic thing. Again, this is what I mean about amateur operation. It's the stuff you see with sort of bottom of the league, mid-table sort of managers.
Which
and
we are at the moment.
Over-reliance on certain players.
Botman's still paying the price. Botman's still paying the price for that right now.
He should sue them. When his career's done,
trust me,
he should sue them.
He's probably biding his time, bro. He probably will. When he leaves, he's probably going to sue us, bro. He's probably going to sue.
Charles going to be Botman 2.0.
Yeah.
And that's without getting into the favoritism. I mean, as Big Yinks just put it out, so you just finished the last point I was going to make. So that's all without going into historical context. That's just the ledger sheet right now. Half of that sheet is enough. You be wrapped off. You be.
Hey, there's a good comment from the Bevis here. He said the Happy Clapper didn't support Bruce's or Pardee's Newcastle win, lose or draw. Interesting. So why is that? So people like Kenny, Cuff, let us know. What were you supporting Bruce the same way you support Eddie Howe? Because right about now we're looking like Jeff said, we're looking like a C Bruce team. Looking like a C Bruce team, yeah, just with a different manager. But what were you saying about the next 7 games, right? Because we're back to probably 1 game a week football now. Yeah, 7 games left. Regardless of whether you want him gone or not, do you think he's going to pull up any trees and get us back into that top 8, top 7, Jefferson?
I'm gonna be real with you, no. And I think that the biggest problem is, like I said, I think was it last week, arguably every team we're playing have something to play for. So this is where it becomes difficult because there's a few of them that are arguably rivals for that Conference League place when you're looking at sort of Brighton and Fulham. But then you've also got sort of West Ham and Forest fighting for their lives. And Arsenal at this point want to make sure they get over the line with the title. So when you're looking at it like that, I don't know where the next points are going to come from. And that's not me trying to be insulting to the manager or the team. Based on our current form and all those teams having something to play for, what on earth we're going to do? I mean, the first thing you want to do, at the very least, is bloody start a proper striker. That might change things.
We have to talk about that today because we have to, bro. I've been
that's the thing
about this for weeks.
Do you think he's going to do that? Because, like I said, he's now got 1 game a week football, and he'll probably point to the fact that he hasn't had time on the playing pitch with the likes of Vista and Voltemar to play his system and whatnot. So, do you think he will? I
don't think he will do, man. I think I think we'll see Gordon playing up front for the rest of the season.
Serious?
Unfortunately, that's what I think. I hope I'm wrong, but for me, it would have made sense to bring in. It would have made sense to give Wissa a run of games, sort of pre this, like a couple of months ago. You see, like since he's been fit, I know it took him time and he's not been great since but he's not had much of a chance. He's come on for 20 minutes here, half an hour here. I think since he's been back fit and available, he's the one that actually suits our style of play. And we know Eddie refuses to change our system in the way that we play. I think he's the only one that's actually a goal scorer and can actually do what Isak did. Obviously is not Isak, but he was a prolific goal scorer. Let's not forget that he scored 20 plus goals in the Premier League last season.
Yeah. I mean, there's
seasons.
But the thing is, there's rumours that he's going to be loaned out to Turkey.
I saw that today.
I mean, that is ridiculous. I mean, you
I
spent
saw that
55
today.
million on him. He
He's
hasn't
gonna
had a
eat more
chance.
kebabs. He's gonna get
Come on,
bigger,
man.
isn't he?
And that's what I'm saying. Remember, he like I said, he hasn't had a pre-season. So surely give him the pre-season and see what he does then. You're not going to just give up on him now. Surely that's just garbage. But I don't know. But before we continue, the good Cup has come and said the season has been most frustrating ever for me. After the Maccabees, I don't think Eddie is the one to take us forward. But at the same time, I certainly won't be celebrating if and when he goes. So fair enough, Cup. That's a fair comment. For you, Cup, do you think, and we'll talk about this later, but do you think, Cup, this is just for Cup, do you think Eddie Howe's going to be the manager next season? And we'll get to you guys' thoughts later on when we talk about Eddie Howe moving forward. So, Jefferson, do you think he's going to play a striker up front, or do you think he's going to continue with Gordon?
He's going to continue with Gordon. He's someone that's going to go out on his sword. I think Dom, big up Dom if you're still in the chat. I remember he shared a screenshot of a report from a fan, I think it was the fan supporters group or whatever it was, from Bournemouth, who said they wouldn't welcome Eddie back, although they thank him for everything he done. But they remember that final season, he went out on his sword playing Simon Francis, Steve Cook, Charlie Daniels, and whoever else it was. He held on to the original players from League One. So he's that stubborn. He will just do it until he's told, you're surplus to requirements.
That's mad. Those records we're going to get 2 points for the rest of the season. We're on 42 points. Is it 42 points right now?
I'm telling you, we're not safe. I'm telling you.
No, Jefferson.
We're not safe. We're not safe.
We are safe. Come on.
Have a look at the league. Have a look at the league again.
No, 40 points is safe. 40 points.
Look at the teams down there. They are not getting, two of them are not getting 42 points, bro.
But the fact that we're talking about being safe, 7 points, 7 games to go is a joke in itself. And that tells you everything you need to know about how we need to go.
Oh my God.
I'm just trying to put the fear into people, just to add that little extra edge.
But
Get him out, man.
That's what it's going to come to for him to leave, because it can't get any worse than it is, and no, there's no signs of him being sacked. There's no signs of him being sacked.
We'll talk about that. Yeah, go ahead.
I'd like to ask the guy who made that comment. He said he's not going to be celebrating when he leaves. Why not? Because I'll be having a party when he goes. I'll be having a party.
No, but you know what it is? I think it's the fact that, because I'm still the thing that, listen, I do want him to go, but I'd like him to bow out gracefully, innit? Because I think he should go at the end of the season, but I'm not going to say, yeah, he's gone. Because at the end of the day, I still do acknowledge what he has achieved for us in his time season. So you have to give him credit for that. But I'm not going to dance on his grave, innit? I'm not going to be that kind of thing. But at the same time, it's a case of, right, thank you, Eddie. You've done a good thing. Let's move on, innit? But I hear you with the credit. I say it every week, bro. Die a hero or live long enough to become the villain. Yeah, so I'm hoping that he dies a hero, bows out gracefully, and which I don't think he will. That's my issue, though. I don't think he will.
The time for that was when we won the cup. That's when he should have done it.
But this is what Jefferson will say. But I say to that is that what manager unless you're Pep, who's won everything, what manager is going to leave the job as soon as they win a trophy?
No, he's not. You're right. I get it. I'm saying I wish he did it then, but you're right. He's never gonna leave. And I can't see him. I remember we were talking before, D-Man, and you were saying that you think he is actually gonna bow out gracefully at some point. You'll think he'll actually walk. And I just can't see it. I think he's got too much of a good thing there.
I'm kind of changing my mind. I don't know how I think about that now. Let me get some of these comments in it.
Deep down.
Hold on. Big up Pot Mags in the building. Pot Mags said, Howe's looking more and more like he won a competition to manage the Premier League.
Big up Pot Mags, West Side. Big up.
My opinion of how PAF are running the club is pretty bad, but if this manager is still here next season, then I'm completely lost. And we'll talk about PAF next, actually. MB79 said, everyone forgets that Bristol was meant to be the Wilson replacement. We need a top striker. Bring home Ivan Toney.
I said this numerous
times.
He's
too expensive, though.
Earlier on.
Yeah. Why is it too expensive?
Tony can't come back unless he pays back the taxes. That's the thing, bro. You can't leave Saudi, bro. You can't leave Saudi without paying it.
Now he's getting that tax-free money. We can't give him that over.
Vissa is a failure of scouting and data analytics. He was never a 19 goal season player. He's 20 million max. Brentford utility attacker. Leave Howe in charge, and he's Wilson's replacement. Interesting. But Connor said since Christmas we would be 16th in the league. That's shocking, bro. That is
Wow.
shocking. Because you think about how many games you won since the new year.
Oh
It's
my days.
not a lot.
We're dropping
Not
like
a
a
lot.
stone, ain't we?
It coincides with
If there was another 10
the
games, we would be at risk of
Sorry.
relegation. I
Look
don't
at that
care.
comment. How is the type of guy
Yeah?
that uses stale bread out of trays?
Jesus. Oh my God. What was the one that Doc sent? The one about the Arabic guys. They were saying that if he was a chef or something, all he'd know how to cook is spaghetti. That was hilarious. They said they'll give you all the ingredients in the world to cook another meal, and he cooked spaghetti again.
Well, hold on. Speaking of PIF, because Kenny's come and said, you all forget whoever comes can't splash the cash, right? So obviously we know the limitations we are with PSR, and it's now going to be called SCR, whatever it is, whatever. But I refuse to believe that we can't spend this summer.
We have got money to spend.
We have got money.
They came out in January before when the January window was open. They said that there's money to spend. They literally confirmed numbers like there's 100+ million to spend.
Well, they said some of the financial experts were saying that we haven't spent the ESAT cash. So
yeah,
that must mean we have money to spend.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And they specifically mentioned that we've got room for 25 million. And that's why they were looking at particular defenders that were under 25 mil, because there was the French boy from, is it Metali from Toulouse, who was a left back who could play centre back, and then he done his knee. So we didn't sign him. And then I think Ross Wilson recommended a Portuguese guy. Is it Tiago something from Lecce? And he was only like 20-ish mil. He was quite cheap. But apparently Eddie was like, I don't want him. We didn't sign anyone.
So what's your thoughts, Jefferson, on PIF then? Do you think they're still well invested, or do you think they're kind of checked out a little bit?
If you'd asked me this last week, I was a bit worried because there was all these rumors about them looking to sell clubs and relinquish sort of liquid on their portfolio because of all this war situation where they've been losing money, particularly in terms of oil and stuff like that. Obviously, everybody knows that they're looking to sell the Saudi clubs before the 2030 World Cup. But I think Newcastle United exists separately as one of just, PIF's portfolio, where they've got Disney and ESPN and all that sort of stuff. So they're not tied to the Saudi clubs. I do think eventually they will sell, but it wouldn't be until like the 10-year mark, personally. Because remember, we still got the Rubins in there. I think eventually the Rubins will step away as well, but now's not the time. I think they will continue to invest as the future goes on, because I think they want a bit of a legacy there as well.
Okay. Just read this comment from Cuff. He said, Narcon said, nice to meet you, by the way. Saying he should have gone after winning the cup, getting us into the Champions League is serious hindsight, which, I mean, it may sound like that, but if you've been speaking to me for years, Cuff, then you would know that I've been Howe out for a long time. I've been unimpressed with him for a long time. So we could go back. I don't know if we want to start going back, but trust me, from some of the transfers that we made, like when we decided that we was going to get rid of certain people, when we desperately needed to, Minte, Anderson, some of the sales, even, I can go back. I've not been a fan of Howe's in-game management for a long time. His lack of his one-dimensional systems. Even before our squad wasn't even that deep, and he didn't used to use the squad. Like he just runs players in the ground. So for me, I've there's been signs, man. He's been playing his favourites for years. He plays them through bad form. He doesn't drop them. It doesn't matter what happens. And so do you think this comment here from Cesar, big up Cesar, I said, would Spurs take Eddie as their next permanent manager? Do you think Spurs would go for him? I think that's the only probably club that probably would, the big club that would go for Eddie Howe, I think. Yeah,
but look at where they are right now in the league. Do you know what I mean? So they're literally in a relegation battle. So that doesn't,
I mean, the fact obviously they can't do it now, but he's helped us in the relegation battle before. One thing Eddie will do with that team, because they're basically almost at factory settings themselves, is get them fit and running. And that will work for about 18 months. And it'll be the same cycle as what happened with us. But right now, he'd be a great guy to come in
Because
with
this
them.
is the thing. This is the thing with Eddie, right? I do give him his respect, and I do accept that. Like, I sound very negative about him coming on here for the first time, but I should probably say I do actually appreciate and rate what he's done for us. Like, he's obviously been our most successful manager. It's the first time I've supported Newcastle for like 30 plus years, bro. It's the first time he's the first one to bring us a trophy. So that day, I'll never forget that day celebrated with my son. Do you know what I mean? So like, I will always be grateful for what he did, but I just feel like he's got us to that's the
he's
peak.
reached his limit.
He's reached his limit, and I felt like that a long time. And as I said, I don't know if we were talking, it's because we were talking earlier, if I mentioned it on here, but I feel the signs were there. This year was his opportunity to prove that he's learned from the last time we were in Europe, and he's learned how to manage a squad and etc. And he's proved this season for me that he's absolutely learned absolutely nothing.
Yeah. Big up Kim Cam in the building. Hope you're good. Hope you got Kim Cam.
Just gonna say as well, big up says for the comment. We'll have to, if we can, get you back on for the Arsenal return. I don't know if anybody watched the episode we had. I think we had the Arsenal game. Says was on the panel for that. So big up for your comment, bro.
Yeah.
Yes.
MB79 said we need some noise from PIF. The silence is deafening. Yeah, which is true. By the way, we've got 43 in there. We're on 25 likes. So let's see if we can get to 30 likes within the next 5 minutes. So smash the like button if you haven't already, and you haven't subbed to the channel. We're trying to get to 600 by the end of the show. We're on 595, I believe. So 5 more. If you haven't subbed to the channel.
D-man, you know, I've just clocked something, right? Listening to Carnell tonight. I listened to Curtis before. You got some hardcore brethrens, yeah? Now, the thing is, right, when we first linked up, I thought my brother's hardcore, yeah? We were dressed in black, we were in this shit. And then you started getting all soft. So why am I seeing your brothers and they're still more hardcore than you? What's going on here?
But you know what it is. So big up AC as well, because we was on the same wavelength at the time. My thing, for Cardiff, you didn't watch it for. What I was saying, when we went on that run last season, the 10-game run, beat Villa, Man United, I think some other teams, whatever. Jefferson was calling for him to be sacked. Yeah. Now I'm saying you cannot sack him on this run that we've got. Yeah, because we were playing well, we were scoring goals. The football weren't even that bad. Yeah, but it would have been ludicrous. Whether we wanted him sacked or not, it would have been ludicrous to sack him at that point. We don't win the cup. Yeah, we may not even win for the Champions League. But remember, this was a run that not even Liverpool, no other team in the league had done that. To this day, last season, no one put 6 or 7 straight wins together. Yeah, in the league. Yeah, and it was 10 altogether in all competitions. So he was saying that obviously every game had a bit of context to apply. That some teams were ground to 10 men, some teams were just rubbish. You know what I mean? Which is fair enough. But you can only play who. I remember. But what I also said is that going into some of those games, not just me, but Jefferson also predicted we would lose. So when we win now, you can't just go say, "Oh, it was lucky." I'm saying so at that time, and again, even at the end of the season when he was calling for him to be sacked, I said, whether you want it or not, it can't happen because you cannot sack the manager unless he decides to walk. You cannot sack the manager after winning our first trophy in God knows how many years, but that and qualifying for the Champions League.
That's the thing, though. And remember, let's not forget that. And I was having similar debates. Like I say, one of my boys I speak to about football all the time. He's an Arsenal fan, but so he's obviously not as connected to Newcastle. But he's always telling me like, why don't you like Howe? Why are you always cussing them out? But for me, it's like I was with Jefferson. I would have been saying the same thing to you, D-man. I've only tuned into this show this year. I've only found out about your pod, so it's only been this season. But I would have been on the same thing there. Even when we were winning, the signs were there. And let's not forget, we lost on. All we had to do was win our last game of the season to qualify for Champions League against who were we playing? Everton. Yeah. Against Everton, bro. This tells you how lucky we were that season. This tells you how bad we are as a team. Because if you say at the start of the season, in the last game, all you got to do is beat Everton at home and you're in the Champions League and you lose. The only reason we got in was because Aston Villa got robbed on the last day.
I've just clocked, hold on. Everton beat us back to back at St. James's Park.
Bro.
Yes, bro. But you know what? And also, when 90s Mags first started in we all talked about those last 3 games from that season when we finished 7th, when it was a pivotal games, and I think he drew one of them and lost 2 or something like that. And we end up finished 7th and
Bro,
relying on obviously Man City to
Other
beat Man
teams.
United in the FA Cup, and we flopped. So
We
I suppose he's got previous in that respect. Yeah.
Howe has made us. One thing he's made us really good at is like we get up for the big games. You know, we're hard when we're at our best. We're hard to play against the bigger teams, the better teams that are not going to sit back against us. We can go toe to toe and we can give those teams good games. But his problem, and it has been for years, is beating the teams that we should beat. Is finding a way to beat the teams that we're better than.
Well, you see what you just said there? Doesn't that just sound like a Steve Bruce team? When we're at home against the big teams, we turn up, but then we can't beat anybody else. So this shows the signs of regression. You know what I mean? Yeah,
it's
we've got
mentality. It's
because we've got one style of play.
It's like an FA Cup game. You know what I'm saying?
It sounds like we've got to Eddie Howe, but we haven't got to Eddie Howe properly yet. But anyway, Podmag said, I heard on the Toon review that PIF want Eddie and Ross to rebuild with younger technical players and play possession-based football. So basically, everything Howe has conspicuously avoided avoided his whole time here.
The team.
Very good comment.
He can't do it. He can't play. He can't control games.
And all of his signings as well are a complete opposite to that. He's not interested in signing players that are technical and can keep the ball. He's just signed like for like runners, athletes.
Have you seen who we're linked with? That should be sending alarm bells to people.
But do you think that there's truth in it, or do you think it's lazy journeying based on what Eddie Howe's done before? Like the players that we've been linked with, the Lap, who else was there? Trafford,
the new links.
Yeah,
the new links. I think with them, with transfer links, like there's no smoke without fire, man. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes there's some of them links, bro. It doesn't surprise me. I won't be surprised if Trippier gets another year contract and we see him playing.
Well, all right. Well, let's go to that. Let's go. But first of all, some of these comments. Chevelle said David Hopkinson is trying to big up the club morale by quoting some American footballer that nobody's heard of. Fair enough. Connor said Bird needs to go, so Howe won't be tempted to make him first choice. Jimmy's Arts, who would you sign in the summer to turn things around? But more importantly, who would want to come to Newcastle?
Yeah, that's the problem.
And it would be inverted commas under Eddie Howe, because I think you put a different manager in, that changes the context completely.
100%. And we need to, and if we do it sooner rather than later, then maybe people like Tonali and people like Bruno and all of our best players stay, and we don't lose them again. Because
we'll go into that then. Obviously, the news has been ramping up about Tonali. David said, I think Tonali will go in the summer because he wants Champions League. Now, I've been saying that for a while, and I go back to the interview that he did just for the end of last season. Yeah. And every other sentence was, we need to get Champions League. We need to get Champions League.
And he also said year by year.
Right. And he also said, when Isak left, or the speculation about Isak, I said Tonali's got that same vision about playing for a top club. He's got this vision of seeing himself playing at the top level. If we can't match the ambition, he's going to go. So, do you think he's going to go in the summer, Cornell?
I really hope not, bro. But it won't surprise me. I mean, I'm kind of 50-50 with it. I wouldn't be surprised if we kept him, if he stayed for another year. I feel like he might think that I think it was Materazzi or someone come out there today or yesterday made a comment about it and said that he owes Newcastle a bit of loyalty and something like that. So, I think there might be a little bit in that in there. He was there picking up a check for nearly a year and not playing. So how old is he, Tonali? 25? 20,
yeah, about that. 25, 20, yeah, about that. Yeah.
I feel like he's still got enough of a career ahead of him where he could probably 1 year out of the Champions League's not going to kill him. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. I won't be surprised though, bro. I wouldn't be surprised if he leaves, and I wouldn't blame him. I'll be gutted, but I personally wouldn't blame him because he should be playing European football every season.
Big up Andy in the building. He said, Howe turned us into Bournemouth 2.0. Cuff said, sell him abroad, can't let him stay in the Premier League. So Jefferson, do you think he's going to go? And do you think he stays in the Premier, or do you think he goes abroad?
The issue is there's only a handful of clubs that could afford Tonali in terms of the transfer fee that we would ask for, probably in the region of 80 to 90 million, and the wages. So there was all this talk before of Juventus being interested because he's homesick and all this stuff. But truth be told, unless there's player exchange and all this sort of stuff, Juventus can't afford him. You're looking at maybe, because even PSG, their midfield stacked, so they wouldn't buy him. You know, so all of a sudden you're like maybe a Bayern Munich, but then they'd have to sell to buy. So, you know, that's the issue with the abroad situation. I can't see maybe a Real Madrid, maybe.
See, that's what I was thinking, because there's rumors that Ancelotti's been talking to Real Madrid and trying to get him talk to big up to. Well, no, I think that's not tonight. That's Bruno actually. But we'll talk about.
Yeah,
but Real Madrid might. But then there's also Real Madrid want Enzo
Fernandez, and they've got an option on Nico Paz to come back from Como, and they're trying to loan out the I can never say his name, Master Tuono or Tuondo. I can't say his name. The Argentinian guy that they just signed. So again, their midfield is stacked. But listen, if it was cash plus Camavinga, that's if Camavinga want to come to us, I'd be tempted.
Colin said Talani's been linked to Bayern today. Interesting. That might be an option. You know, that might be a serious option. That might be a serious option.
It would ease the pain a little bit if it's abroad, because obviously if it was to Man U or one of
they say that Man United are serious. They've been talking to his agent. They're seriously linked to him now, because we know they're going to strengthen their midfield.
And they need to replace Casemiro.
I don't see him going to Man United, but anything's possible, isn't it? But for those in the chat, let us know. Do you think he's going to go, and where do you think he will go if he does go? We're on 28 likes now. 43 of you here. Let's get to 35 likes if we can. Again, if you haven't subbed to the channel, please sub today. We much appreciate you trying to get to 600 by the end of the show.
I forgot to mention at the start of the show.
What?
To thank everyone. I completely forgot, man.
The floor is yours.
Oh, sorry, D man. My bad. You know, you saying it just reminded me of that. Guys, just got to say a huge, massive thank you for all the likes and sharing and the hype points, especially. I think we had like over 300,000 hype points, which I think ranked us at like number 22 in the top 100 hype channels on YouTube, which is crazy.
Mad.
That's mad. You know? You man doing big things.
We're trying, man. We're trying. Yeah, man. Appreciate it. Everyone who's liked the channel, who left comments, who's hyped it, much appreciated, man. Much appreciated. We're now on 31 likes, so let's get to 35. Be much appreciated. But yeah, Bruno, because there's still some speculation. Again, Man United linked to him. Tonali linked to Man City by there as well. But abroad, Real Madrid are looking at him as well. He's 28. He's going to be 29 in November. He's probably got one big left contract in him. Yeah, one big contract left.
If Real Madrid come knocking for Bruno, we're finished. He's gone. I know, like everyone thinks he's Mr. Newcastle and he's look, but you don't turn down Real Madrid, bro.
Right. But suppose there's another. Suppose. Sorry, Tristan, go on.
I was just gonna say, because wasn't there a rumor that we would try and give him another new contract for him to stay, and I heard it would be around the 200 grand mark because he's on
I heard 250. I heard 250.
And again, you got to look back at the Isak situation. It's like, if we're doing that for Bruno now, if
Why
we'd
did
done
we
that
do
with
it?
Isak, there wouldn't have been no problem in the first place. So the issue is that then ruins the wage structure, because every other person is going to be asking, or any new arrival is going to say, I want to be the highest paid person at your club.
Well,
I want to be close to a top earner. So if that happens, he's going to have to go, because that's going to mess us up big time.
Yeah.
Now, the question is, if he does go, does he go with the fans' blessing, or are they're going to be so gutted that they kind of like turn it? Because Isak has never been Mr. Newcastle, but Bruno is, he bleeds Newcastle. His sons, his kids are Geordies, whatever. He feels like a Geordie. His dad, his dad's like a little celebrity around there. Because it will hurt Newcastle fans so much. Do you think they're going to understand and let him go with the blessing, or do you think they're going to say, "Rah, you snake touch, I thought he was going to be there for blah blah blah, whatever"? What do you reckon, Connor?
I think if you're sensible, you can't begrudge him. If it's a team like that, a Real Madrid, a Barcelona, those huge teams, as you said, he's getting towards the end. He's getting towards his 30s. He's got one big contract left in him. I wouldn't begrudge him. I will be absolutely gutted, but I won't begrudge him. And as I said, this is a guy. He's one of the first names on the team sheet for Brazil. He'd walk into most teams in our league. He'd walk into the team first 11. Most teams. He's a top player. So he should be playing at the top level. And this is why I'm so hard on Eddie Howe, bro, because if we want to get to where we need to get to, we want to get to the level that we're aspiring to be at, we need to keep hold of those sort of players. And we won't keep them if we're not in Europe every year. And even Europa League, they don't want to be playing Europa League. What, you think they want to be going to Russia to play football? Come on.
Yeah. And Kazakhstan and them places there. But Charoy said Bruno's going nowhere. He's a legend and we need to give him 250k. He's worth it.
Hear that, Charoy.
He
He's
is a legend.
up long term, brother.
You got to be smart about this. You've got to be smart about this.
Unless an array of new sponsorship deals come through.
Yeah.
Fine.
The only way that, as per Jefferson's point, the only way that can possibly happen is later down the line if we've got a new stadium and our revenues are all much higher and etc. Because as I said, I don't see it happening. I think that must be rumours because Newcastle can't be paying players 250 grand. They just simply can't afford to do it.
Well, MB said, Bruno said in an interview a while back, the only way we would leave with Newcastle would be if it benefited the club massively. So interested. David said,
I think that was around the whole Man City, but there was that clause that he had 100 million release clause, wasn't it? So everyone was primed for him to be sold, and it didn't happen.
It didn't come in. Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think about that, D-Man? Do you think because he might be one of these guys where hopefully he is this guy that just decides that that's it. You know what I mean? I'm going to stay with Newcastle through thick and thin. I see myself here. My kids are happy. Maybe. Do you think that that could be a thing?
I think, you know what? I think he won't angle for a move. Yeah. I think if we offer him a new contract, I think he probably signs it. But at the same time, I think the club will probably want to cash him because they know that this is the best time. This is the last time they can get good money for him. And if a club like Real Madrid, maybe not Man United, but if a club like Real Madrid comes in for him and offers decent money, like I'm talking 60 plus, 60, 70, because we paid 35, 30, 39 for him or something like that. If we get like 60 million for him, I don't see how the club can take it down. All I will say is that he will be in tears when he leaves, regardless. Because I do believe him when he says he believes Newcastle, he feels so, because the way we embrace him and we made him the main man and everything, the way the fans, embrace him, he never had that before. Newcastle fans are very passionate. The way they sing his name, like when he kisses that badge, and he means it.
He means it.
And
his dad is part of the community.
He is.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if he does stay, I want him to stay. But if he does stay, I do have to question his ambition. Because you're not going to win the big trophies with us. You're not. So is it the case you want to be? You're already going to be our best ever captain. You know what I mean? You're going to be remembered as the guy that captained us.
Man.
This is what I'm saying. So do you want to stay knowing that really true? It's another season without Champions League football and no guarantee you're going to get the season after. You're 28 going on 29. You want to be playing Champions League football. Yes, you were with us when you saved from relegation and whatnot. You brought us up to where we are now. But this, to me, would be probably the perfect time for him to leave. You know what I mean? Because he's achieved what he needed, won a trophy as captain. Now, you've earned the right to go play for a Real Madrid, a Barcelona, a Bayern Munich, whoever, who competes for top honours. Yeah? You'd have my blessing anyway. But I don't know. We'll see.
Hopefully not, man. Hopefully stay forever.
Let's go to some of these contact. David said, Juve and AC Milan tonight links. We got Sandro Tonali still in contract with Newcastle 2029. We got Ray in the building. Big up Ray. He said, "Hi, D-Man Jefferson. How are you? Eddie Howe out. Sat from Newcastle now. Maresca appointed as the manager of Newcastle United from Ray. We'll get to that. We'll get to him. I saw a thingy from I think it was Dom, and he said he's only just caught up. He said catching up from the start on how leaving Convo. I'll be having a full party when he goes. Thanks for what you did, but you did well. Outstayed your welcome. Goodbye. Don't hit you."
That's not right.
Again, Dom, we haven't even got into the Eddie Howe conversation properly, but we're going to get to it. Connor said we're going to talk to this guy now. Arsenal and Liverpool both interested in Gordon. Will he go? That's the next one we'll talk about. Anthony Gordon.
Goes.
Now, we know that he's Eddie Howe's one of Eddie Howe's favourites, right?
Bro.
He fits Eddie Howe's profile to a T. We know the fact that he plays regardless. The fact that Howe came out and said he don't play him on the right because he wants to play on the left. He's now put him up front in front of Vissa, Voltemada, everybody. So he now, and also I said this already. Since Isak left, Gordon saw himself as the main man in this team. Yeah, and whether Eddie Howe's gassed him up to believe that, I don't know. So we all know that Eddie Howe won't want to lose him. But we all know the whole PSR thing that happened a couple of seasons ago, where we kind of shopped him around to Liverpool, whatnot. Then we gave him a new contract. He hasn't performed since then. He's been booed a couple of times. He's been a liability a couple of times. Scored some important goals as well. Let's not take it away. We all remember what happened last season in the League Cup semi-final. Will he go, Carnell? And do you want him to go?
Yeah, I think yes to both. You know, I'm good to see him go. The signs were there that we were going to become Gordon FC as soon as he put him on penalties earlier in the season.
Right.
You know, as soon as we started to see a winger taking our penalties, then the alarm bells were ringing. But I think he goes. I think he's going. If Liverpool come in for him, he's gone. He loves Liverpool. He's a Scouser. I saw something online just today where he was doing some ranking of players, England greats, and they did Shearer against somebody, and he said
Saka.
Yeah, and he said Saka. So like he don't care about Newcastle. You know, as a Newcastle player, just for PR purposes, you say Shearer, innit?
But for just on that point though, do you think that's more the fact that Shearer questioned his appetite for not coming on in the Champions League, starting the Champions League game against Barcelona? Do you think it was more of a get back about that?
Oh yeah, true. I did forget about that. Yeah, maybe actually, maybe he was having a little dig. But for me, he's been flirting with Liverpool for a long time. Like he's made it clear that that's his boyhood club. And I think if Liverpool come in, he goes. I don't know if Slot. Because I haven't seen any links.
Loves Gakpo. He loves Gakpo. Yeah. But maybe Gakpo needs competition because remember they sold Diaz, so they do need another forward.
One thing we know for sure is Howe certainly is not going to want to lose him. It's Howe loves him to bits, so Howe is going to do everything he can. If we've still got Howe there, he's going to do everything he can to keep hold of Gordon because he loves him.
What do you reckon, Jefferson? Do you think he goes? And also remember Arsenal after him as well because Arsenal linked at both Gordon and Kvaratskhelia. Which I don't think they're going to get him. Yeah. So, do you reckon he goes? And if so, which club do you think he goes to?
That'd be interesting. Marco says, if you are still in the chat as Arsenal fans, let us know. Rather, would you be happy with Gordon if you guys went for him? I think Liverpool is the one, isn't it? Because even with the whole Isak situation, he was doing those Insta posts, wasn't he, and all that to try and keep nice, not just with the player but with the club. And his agent will probably be selling the fact that they had a good relationship as attackers, and him coming to Liverpool does provide that competition for Gakpo, doesn't it? The issue will be is if Alonso comes in, is he an Alonso type player? You know, so if Gordon would be signed, he would be a club signing, not a manager signing. I cannot see Alonso, going for the likes of Gordon, but. If there was a club he'd go to, it's there. He's very ambitious. He wants to regularly be an England team, and he probably sees himself as above us. So maybe us not qualifying for Champions League is a blessing in that respect because he may be in that crowd that want to leave as well.
Well, yeah, we saw. I've taken back to the interview that he did for the club a couple of seasons ago, and he showed that he's very ambitious. He rates himself very highly. The whole thing, I do wonder if Eddie, you know how I say Eddie, he had that conversation with the chairman at the end of the last season, and it was him or Mitchell. Maybe Eddie goes back to the board and says, if you sell Gordon, I go as well. Now, we know that what we want. If he says that, all right, goodbye, innit? But the fact that he's got so much power at the moment, so much standing, so much respect, maybe the fact that they're probably going to lose Tonali. We'll talk about Tino in a minute, but Bruno might go as well. He cannot afford to lose all of them. So maybe he's like, if a good offer comes to Bruno, then fair enough. We can't think that. Tonali's probably not too bothered about losing. Anthony Gordon, of the three, I think he'd rather keep him over all of them. Yeah, that's my thoughts. I think he'd rather keep Gordon than all of them. The fact that the way he's treated Gordon,
I think so.
And remember, there's been a couple of times where Bruno's been outspoken about the way the Newcastle been forming, and Howe's not been really too happy about it. He kind of dismissed what Bruno said. So there might be, a bit of rambling then. He's paid Tonali right back, them kind of things there. And who knows? But Tino, I don't know about you guys, but for me, he's the more likely to go first. Yeah, I think he's 90% out the door. Yeah, there's rumors that we're going to try to offer him a new contract, but at the same time, the link to Man City won't go away. Yeah, they need a right back. You know what I mean? So,
yeah,
what do you reckon, Jefferson?
I think we need to push that one over the line ASAP because the rumors with this City stuff is gathering pace about this 60-point deduction. So if that happens, they won't be signing anyone. So also, if Maresca does come in, you know, would he be a Maresca type player? Because we know Tino is very much about athleticism rather than passing the ball. So I think if it is a situation he's going, really we need to be pushing him out the door to get that money in ASAP because it will be in that 50 to 60 million pound range, which the club needs right now. So I think these moves around Man City has a question mark around it because of potentially what's going to happen to their club. Not just
I was going to say,
but because the manager might go in as well.
And the charges, they talk about the charges. I mean, I don't know how true it is, but there's rumors that they could get a 60-point deduction, which have them relegated. You know, surely they can't. If they do sign the likes of Tino, then you know that they're so confident that these charges are not, they're not sticking in it. Yeah, because and the fact that they signed Semenyo and that in the January, that surely they're very confident of beating this case. So or having a slap on the wrist kind of thing. I don't know you can get over 115 charges, but it is what it is. But we know that they offer Tino.
There's not I don't think the PSR applies there.
But at the same time, as a player,
if they got relegated with these players, they could still be paying them high wages. And
but what I'm saying is, as a player coming in with the thought of relegation hanging over your head, do you want to go play for Man City in the Championship? You know what I mean? Yes, it might be for a season, but it's still out of Europe. You know what I mean? There's not if you are probably coming out.
They're not silly. They'll just be like, okay, we'll loan you to Girona for a year. We'll loan you to Troyes. Do you know what I'm saying?
No, I hear that. That's from a City point of view, that's fine. But from a player, suppose you don't want to go play in Italy. You don't want to play in France. You don't want to play in them places. Like, suppose you want to play in the Premier League. You know what I mean? So surely the agents will be saying, okay, what's going on with these things? Can you guarantee that we will be, or will you loan to a top European club or a top Premier League club? You know what I mean? So what will be the thingy there? But
I don't know if whoever they need to get on with that.
Before you start, big up RD the 3R5. He said, just found you guys. We'll sub. So much appreciated. For those who don't know, we are trying to get to 600 subs by the end of the show. So every little helps. So much appreciated. But sorry, Carnell, go on.
No, I was just gonna say with this City thing, man. I saw the reports about the potentially 60 points, but they just need to get on with it now. Right? We're all bored of this. This has been going on for way too long, man. They need to just make a decision already.
So we do, Carnell. Also, the players that we're linked to, right? Trafford. What's your thoughts on James Trafford?
I think it's better than both the keepers that we have currently. Like, so I wouldn't be. I mean. I wouldn't be mad about it. As long as the money wasn't silly. I think he should have been at the club we should have got that over the line last year. Do you know what I mean? I think we flopped with that. But I think from what I've seen of him, the odd few times I've watched him, I think he's better than Pope and he's better than Ramsdale.
Oh, 100%. I think he's better than both of those. I think he is. I'm not sure if he should be going back for someone who's rejected us already. I think he sounds a bit desperate.
Did he reject us though, or wasn't it? Didn't they have rights to buy it? Didn't they have the?
Well, no, they did. To be fair, they did because apparently he was on holiday telling people he's going to join Newcastle.
He's going Newcastle, yeah. Because I heard that he was ready to come and he's always was happy to come. But I think that City had first dibs on him basically, and they just took him from us. But we took too long.
I think the wages as well. I think the wages because he's on big wages now.
Is he?
At City.
Sorry, to cut you. R4, he said, "Yo, dude, I'm sure I sat next to you at the Carabao home game. You guys were a laugh. You probably did. Were there three of us? If it was us. It was me there. So big up if that was you. Big up because I know we was catching joke there as well. So no, big up. Let me know if you're getting into any more games because I don't think I'm going to any more home games. I don't think going to Forest away, Arsenal away, and Palace away. I think I'm going to.
Yeah.
But yeah, all right. So given the players that we mentioned, right? So let's go through them individually. Tino, how much did he pay for him? Was it 40 something, 45, 40 something, 42, something like that?
What?
Someone in the chat let us know.
How much we paid?
Yeah. How much we paid?
35,
30 something,
I
I
think,
think.
or 32, or
I think it
with
was 35. I'm not sure, but I
with
think
the
it's about
option.
35.
Okay. How much do you think we should sell him for? Or how much should you be happy to sell him for, Jefferson?
50 plus, because yeah, he gives us some defensive options with his pace, but we know his concentration is an issue.
Yeah.
And he also doesn't add enough assists going forward. So I think 50 mil would be a good deal because it represents a profit.
Okay. The Bevis is saying 40. Wow. I don't think we definitely won't sell him for 40, but fair enough.
I think if we get anything near 50, I think, as Jefferson says there, I think with him, Tino, I like Tino, don't get me wrong, but I wouldn't. He's one of the ones that I wouldn't be that sad about if we leave. I feel like there's players out there where you can replace Tino.
Yeah, I
He's
think we're looking at the sporting right back. Forgot his name.
Fresneda. But that was if we let's go back.
Yeah. Go on.
Fresneda was a player recommended by Ashworth.
Yeah.
And Eddie said no.
Yeah.
And that was when he was at Villarreal, and it would have been like 10 million or something cheap like that.
Connor saying 60 to 65 million. Chavoy said 70 million plus. We have to get the money. Big Ink 60 to 65 million. The Bever said we did pay 40. I thought it was around 40.
Was it?
Yeah,
wow.
But I'd say I agree. 60 to 65 million in today's market. Yeah, I think he's worth about 60 to 65.
We've got 6 players in the England team somehow as well.
Yeah.
He's one of them. England international. He's young. So yeah, I'll probably make you right then. If he costs 40 million, they're not going to sell him. They're going to want at least
32.2 million because we paid 37.2 million euros.
Okay.
32.2 million pounds.
All right. So what about Tonali then? How much would you sell him for, Carnell?
Tonali. So what did we pay for Tonali? 40 something.
Nah, Tonali we paid money for a big 60, isn't it? Something like 60.
Was it that
just
much?
under Isak? It was just sharp side of Isak's fee, I think. Someone let me know in the chat how much you paid for Tonali, because I'm sure it was big money. 55.
So
yeah,
we're gonna have to ask for. We're gonna be having to look for like 80 million minimum. 80 mil?
I reckon 80 million. I'd say 80.
But then but then the problem is the PR. This is what we have to look at. Does it then make us look like a selling club?
Yeah.
So you see with Brighton, the good thing about Brighton was I think they had a model where it's like same as Dortmund. One big player leaves the season. That's it. So do you remember? Was it McAllister went? And then people tried to
no. I'm not saying they will go.
They were like, nah.
I'm just asking what the fee would be if we were to sell them. You know what I mean?
But what I'm trying to explain is if we can't look like we're selling everyone, because it's not going to be a good look from the outside. So
I agree. I agree.
Of 2 players to go.
2 players. But I'm saying if just hypothetically, if any of them was to go, how much would you think they would cost? So Tonali, what would you reckon?
Yeah, it has to be between 80 and 90. I don't think people will pay 90. So I think Carnell's right, probably with the 80. And there'll probably be a few saying, look, we'll give you 70 up front with maybe 5 or 10 in add-ons, I reckon.
Okay, so Big Inks has said 80 to 90. Chul said 100 million. And then Connor said 90 to 100. Okay, so if that's the case, then if we were to sell Bruno, how much would he cost?
Well, it's his age, isn't it? And the amount of years left on his contract. So he's older.
Yeah.
And he's only got 2 years left. So even though the value should be high, it won't be as high, unfortunately. That's the reality of it.
What do you reckon?
Probably what we paid for him, like in the 60s or something, probably.
60, 65, potentially.
Okay.
Yeah.
Catherine, a good point, said we need to be clever with the sell-on clauses as well. That's something we've been so bad at, by the way. We need to be better at that. I agreed. Adrian said, "Yeah, go on. You say not for purpose." Is that what you say?
Our transfer business, we've been bad in general, though. Really, when you check
Mitchell called it out.
Yeah. Not just with the people that we've bought that haven't necessarily worked out, but even things that even our goalkeeper, for example. I'll just throw you another example in there. We've got a goalie on loan that's better than both our keepers that are playing for us right now.
Who,
Oddy, hold
Big
tight.
up Oddy. Big up Oddy. Yeah. Adrian says 75 plus an IOU. Who's that for? Adrian? Let me know. Big up Benjamin.
Big up, Ben.
Hope you're good.
Champion
Gary
elect.
said, lads, the world record for a right back is Hakimi for £59 million, and Tino is nowhere near him. However, Premier League tax,
inflation,
inflation. Yeah?
Englishman tax. If it's to an English team, if it's to a city, it's
Right.
gonna be silly
And
money.
also, how many years ago did
Declan Rice.
PSG buy Hakimi? You know what I mean? Declan Rice. You know what I mean?
Caicedo. These guys
Arsenal fans are saying that they
man.
underpaid for Declan Rice. So,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Chul said Bruno's not for sale. I'm not happy either. In his opinion, fair enough.
I hope he's right, mate.
Yeah, I hope you're right. The Ben said flog Bristol and chuck Elanga in the. It's not very nice. Yeah. But big up Ginger Hoskins. He said, question D-Man, Howe's not getting back this summer. I saw the leaked email. We are going to go in the Brighton way to max our profit to beat PSR. Oh, Bruno has a 69 million release clause. Interesting. I saw that thing about we're trying to go the Brighton and Brentford way, innit? The way they approach the transfer business, which would, scouting the talent from abroad, whatever, that people don't really know about, and then sell them off for bigger fees, whatever. But you know what? I just want to see something different. But my problem is, and you probably share the same sentiment. If you buy these players, I see we're favourites to sign a 16-year-old from abroad, right? We know he's going to get in the youth team, and then he's going to be shipped out on loan, to somewhere
to Scotland or Belgium.
Exactly, some nonsense, and not see any game time with us. But also, if we were to sign these players that Ross Wilson scouts for the first team, how long is it going to take for Eddie Howe to use them? Is he going to use them at all? Yeah, because if they're creative, technical players, does he know how to use them? Because we've seen no evidence of that. Yeah, and how long will it take for him to bed him in? Not Premier League ready, so he's going to take time, whatever. So, as much as we can get excited about the signings, if Eddie Howe's still in the job,
they're not going to play.
What's the point? They're not going to play. They're not.
Do you remember Kendall was on here in the last show? She gave us that insight about Steve Nixon being in agreement with was it Vasco da Gama? We were given first dibs because we'd scouted him for nearly a year and all this sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. And again, Eddie didn't want him. And the Rayan one hurts because he's in the Brazil squad now and he's playing for Bournemouth when he should be playing for us. What? Because Jacob Murphy's part of the leadership group and Eddie wants to keep his favourites playing. Or he wants to justify the money he spent for Elanga. So this is the problem. We need to wrestle the power away from Eddie. Personally, he needs to be gone. But if he stays, the director of football needs to, and the recruitment team, like your Nixons and whatever, need to have that control, I'm afraid.
Big up Mills in the house. Mills, I hope you sub to the channel as well. Like I said, we're trying to get to 600 subs. Smash the likes, people. We're on 45 likes. Let's get to 50 likes now. That's the next target. So much appreciated for those who have smashed the like button so far and those who stayed with us. But yeah, Mills said Bruno got to be about 80 million, 90 million. Don't forget Casemiro went for around 70 million pounds. I hear you. Casemiro.
Champions Leagues.
You know what I mean? It's a bit, yeah.
Somehow I just can't see us doing business as well as Man United does. I mean,
Although we sold Isak for 125. We sold it for 125. Record for a striker in the Premier League, record by
But let me just make this point. He then spent 70 million of it on Voltamada, and then he's playing him in the centre midfield. So
true. Ginger said in terms of the youth player that we're looking at, he said he can't come here till he's 18. Eddie will be gone by then. He's under 18, so he's not here till 2028. Interesting. Robert, big up Robert. He said Bruno wants a statue, so he's going nowhere. Interesting.
We got a Colty in the mist.
Big up. No, he said Bruno wants a statue, innit? Bruno, not Eddie. Bruno. Yeah?
I looked to the badge.
Oh, fair enough. I hear what you're saying. All right, Robert, we're about to talk about Eddie Howe now, innit? So stay tuned, and I hope you sub to the channel as well. So big up yourself, Robert.
Mate.
Hope you sub. Let's see some more of these comments before we start getting into Eddie Howe, because that's going to take us a while. Gary said it took Howe basically a year to start Hall. Yeah. He did. It did.
One of many examples.
Anthony said Eddie can't bring through
Fact.
youth players.
Fact.
Yeah. William, big up William. He said, I've just woke up. Have we sold Eddie yet? Oh, big up Brent in the building. Hope you're good. Hope you're good.
About PIF, are they literally penny pinching? Because is it the fact that they don't want to pay the compensation, which would count against us with PSR, or is it the fact that technically Eddie is cheap or cheaper compared to certain other managers? Because they know
someone said he's on 9 million a year or something.
I've heard anything between 6 and 9. I think the basic is 6, and then he gets 9 with up to 9 with bonuses or whatever that is. But they know that if they want to get, I don't know, an Inzaghi in, straight away it's 10 plus mil. Mourinho, 12, 15 mil. So I'm thinking, are they literally penny pinching at this point? Maybe the fact that Eddie's cheap. He is cheap compared to other managers.
Okay.
Money to them should not be an issue, though. Do you know what I mean? So we've got all the money, and when it comes to things like that, there's no restrictions as to spending it, is it? That doesn't apply with PSR and all that. So
there's no excuse.
There's no excuse.
The manager's wages comes under wages. I think it comes under the players' wages as well. Yeah.
But maybe
if we pay the compo, like let's just say we have to give him, if he's got a year and a half of his contract, let's just say for sake 12 million, that will come out of our money, sort of thing. So I did wonder, are they playing it smart where they're waiting for him to get to his final year, and then if they say we sack you, it's only 6 to 9 million, whereas if we'd sacked him start of the season, we might have had to pay God knows how much. We don't know the details, but
we can hope that's happened in Jefferson. We can hope.
Well, we'll talk about him now, innit? Yeah. Let me go to some of these comments first. Big up, Brad. He said, "What's up, chat? Been lurking and listening while grilling. Eddie, get the F out my club. Hit the likes, folks. Indeed, we're on 50 likes now, so thanks a lot. Let's the next target is 60. Let's get to 60 likes. But yeah, let's talk about it. Let's talk about Eddie in depth now, right? Because first of all, right, Jefferson, do you think that Eddie Howe will be the manager next season? And for those in the chat, simply yes or no, do you think Eddie Howe is going to be the manager next season? Because my answer is yes. I think he will. Yeah? Jefferson, what do you reckon?
The way it's looking is yes. I think even if he finishes the season poorly, it's looking that way. I think they want to give him another go, but with Ross Wilson probably giving those assurances that if he trusts him, he can make a few different signings, but whether Eddie can make it work. So it might be another situation. He gets another first 10 games of the season. If it don't work, they sack him before Christmas, maybe.
Carno, what do you reckon?
Unfortunately, I think all of the noises from the club is that is being backed. I mean, as the media got his full support. He seems like, being they love him over here. They rarely ever call out his poor management this season. So I think I can't see him walking. So yeah, I think he will be. I think he will be here still, unfortunately.
Okay, the Bevis said Howe will double down on his nonsense and will lose at Palace. He's going to feel the heat versus Bournemouth, and then when he gets a good walloping at Arsenal, it will be Connor said Keith Downey said the club will keep Howe. Yeah. Well, to be fair, all these journalists said that we're going to keep Isak. Yeah. So you never know. You never know, right? But I hear what you're saying.
The thing is, they're trying to protect Eddie, but what they're doing is like a kettle. The kettle is boiling. So the more you keep him, the more people are getting Eddie out. And when it really boils over, it's going to be their fault. So
okay. So all right. Adrian said the board are so comatose, Eddie's going to linger. And then the Berry said, sadly, yes, he's going to stay.
The fact that the media love him over here as well, I think that might have something to do with why the board are content with him as well, because I feel like they just want to play. It seems like they don't want to upset the apple cart. They don't want to come in too hard. There's already a lot of eyes on us to the Saudi ownership and all that, and it feels like that to me is, I think that might be part of the reason why he hasn't been sacked.
All right. So, all right. The question to you, Carno, is how bad does it need to get for him to actually be sacked or to walk away? How bad do you think it needs to get?
That's the $1 million question, isn't it? Because we've had points this season where it's like how much worse can it get? Like why is he not being sacked yet? Like how much worse can it get? We've lost to Sunderland twice. I think he'll have to do. We'd have to be like we'd have to have been in a relegation battle or something like that. I think it might this season for him to be sacked this season. I think that maybe the next 7 games, if we lose them all or something, and we end up like finishing just outside the relegation zone, then I think maybe then the pressure will mount. But I think if we pick up a few wins and we end up anywhere between 8th and 12th, 13th, I can't see them sacking him.
Yeah. Okay. Jefferson, what do you reckon?
Where we'll finish?
No. How bad does it need to get for
Oh,
him
sorry. Yeah, I agree with Kano. I think we would have to be bottom 6. The way, from a business point of view, they'll see it is, well, we're not at risk. So we're guaranteed to get at least 125 million minimum, plus a bonus for where we finish in the league. So the way they'll see it is, yeah, well, we're getting income. So there's no threat of that unless you have risk of relegation. So that's the problem. But what they don't realize is, as we're already finding out with our Adidas contract, we're at risk of losing elite status, because if you're not in European competition, then what good is it for Adidas? You might as well just be a normal team. We might as well be, I don't know, Swindon Town. So, we need to be in European competition. So
maybe it will take losing somebody like a Bruno that will cause them to get rid of him. Maybe it's not even results. Maybe losing a player like that, a Bruno or a Tonali, maybe that will turn the table.
Well, that's a good point, because even if, say, like one of them goes and the other one is angling to go, maybe even if he stays, but against his will, that should show that the players don't want to play for Eddie. You know what I mean? The top players, because let's be honest, the likes of Byrne, Trippier, who else is there? I don't know. Pope.
Even Hall at the moment, because he's so young. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Even those sort of players.
They're happy to play under Howe. You know what I mean? And he plays them regularly. They have no reason to upset the apple cart, Murphy and stuff like that. But the top players, I still think they look at Eddie and say, you know what? I should be like you see Pep talking to Tonali at the end of that game that time. Yeah. I don't care what was said. The cog must be turning his head to him. What am I doing playing under this manager? Yeah. We're getting trounced every time by Man City. I should be playing with better class players. Yeah. No disrespect. Like, you're looking up and you're seeing Dan Burn behind you. You're seeing Murphy to the right of you. Like, you know what I mean? You have to thinking, what am I doing here? Or how long can I stomach this? You know what I mean? And I'm not saying he doesn't give 110% every game, whatever. But surely you're playing against world-class players and you think, I could be in this team. I could be in this team. Why am I slugging it? Because we're not playing in Europe anymore. Yeah. We've lost 13 times in the league. We've been embarrassed in the Champions League. We've lost the 2 derbies. Like, why am I gonna? And I don't remember, I'm saying players have to contribute to it as well. But the top players, you cannot tell me they look at it and think, you know what? Maybe I deserve better than this. I've seen what Isak got, the money that he's got at Liverpool. Yes, he's been injured, blah, blah, but next season will be probably a different animal. But he got his move. Yeah. Gordon's now, Gordon's looking at it sideways anyway, like, raw, I should be playing for a better team. You know what I mean? So if he's saying it.
To bring it back to the question of how bad does it need to get, right? This season, we've actually lost more games than we've won in the Premier League, I think.
Right. That alone is embarrassing enough. That's embarrassing enough. But I have to play devil's advocate, right? How much responsibility does the board need to take? Yeah. And is there enough external factors as to why Howe hasn't performed the way we expect him to? So, Carno, before Jefferson goes on, I know Jefferson got a lot to say, but what's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think the board. I put a lot of the blame on Howe, definitely. I think the board can't be. I think the silence of the board and like in January, it was obvious that we were desperate for some. We were like low on numbers, and we really needed to buy a defender, didn't we? Like it was desperate, and they didn't do. There was no action there, so I think the board could be doing more. Definitely, I would like to see more going on, but I think a lot of it is down on Howe, because we can't forget the fact that he spent so much money over the summer. he got to buy he basically handpicked the players he wanted. And yeah, we didn't. I know that Wisser and Votemada weren't his number one choices, but ultimately he gave the nod to bring them in. You know, he gave the nod to spend the money on them. And this season, bro, we've had our squad is better than it's ever been. That I wouldn't have signed the players that he signed, but you can't argue that the squad was when we on paper, when we were looking at it, the squad was a lot stronger than it has been for years. And that he should have been able, with the players that we've got there, he should have been able to do a lot better than he has this season, in my opinion. We shouldn't be sitting here right now with 7 games to go, and we've lost more games than we've won in the Premier League. We've dropped 23 plus points from winning positions. We've lost both games to Sunderland, but he's got to shoulder 80-90% of the blame, bro.
Okay. Just to this comment from Queenie, big up Queenie, said, my brother is just settling back in from being away and said, D-Man looks like Bovine Richards. I don't know who that is. Jeffers looks like Marvin Gaye and Carnell looks like Roman Reigns. Respect.
Yeah, big up. That's a big compliment.
Queenie.
That is. That's a big compliment.
I mean, I don't know the Marvin Gaye one. I respect, and Roman Reigns. I know who that is. Bovine Richards. I don't know who that is. But someone have to educate me on that one. But big up, Queenie.
So, Carnell, next time you're on, you got to say, acknowledge me.
No, allow it, man. Allow it. Right. There's 61 of you lot in the chat. We're on 53 likes. Let's get to 60 likes. We've got someone else joining the panel, I think, shortly in the next few minutes. Right in time. Right time for the Eddie Howe talk. But let's go to some of these comments. Cuff said, if Tonali feels like he deserves to play with world-class players, then play like one yourself then. For the majority of the season, he's been well below par compared to last season. True, he has been below par, but I would say that when you're playing at 100 miles an hour every 3 days, yeah, it's not sustainable. So I don't know what your thoughts on it.
Oh, hello.
Big up Pete in the building. Yes. We've got Pete from Loading Mags. How you doing, sir? How you doing? You good?
All good. Apologies, guys. We ran over slightly, so
I had you in the background. I saw.
Welcome.
Good to be on. How you boys? You all good?
We're good. We're right on time for the Eddie Howe talk.
Come on.
Before we start, Potsy, Rex, Jeffersino, and Carnell and chat. Listen, stop the Rex talk, bro. Please. That's why I take that for you. Yeah. But yeah, someone told me, is it Jake Tyndall's on 3 million a year?
Oh,
is that right? Jake Tyndall's on 3 million a year. That's mad. That is mad. Wow. But yeah, let's go to you, Jefferson. Same question. Is there external factors that we have to take in consideration, or do you agree with anything that Carnell said about Eddie Howe?
I mean, I agree with a lot of what Carnell's mentioned before. I think there is something in there where the board have to take the blame a bit, because I still feel the road sort of turned when Mitchell was dismissed. I think with the way the club was being run before, it was a bit amateur. With Mandy and stuff, that's what led to our PSR issues. And then getting Mitchell in with his record meant that we may have had a chance of unearthing some gems, etc. It showed that we were really trying to accelerate in a good direction. I think getting rid of him and then installing his nephew, that set us back. And I think if we continue in that mode, it could be a problem. And I think what the board should have done is really mediated that situation to say, respectfully, both of you need to get on the same page and work together. As a club, we're looking to modernize. We have a target in mind. We want to become a Man City. We want to become an Arsenal, whatever. Both of you have a key role in that. Instead, they allowed the egos to play out, and that's led to the detriment of the club. So I feel I agree with Carnell's percentage. 80% Eddie, 20% board, I think.
Okay, I agree with the fact that the whole Mitchell thing. You know my thoughts on that. I believe that meeting at the end of the season, I think Howe gave the club an ultimatum: it's either he goes or Mitchell goes, and there was no way that Mitchell was going to win that argument. And then we found out how he was moving when he first came in, like a bull in a china shop, and the famous quote, "Not fit for purpose." I think that offended a few people, but he was right. He ended up being right, and some of the targets that we've gone for we linked to were his targets, you know what I mean? But Eddie Howe, you know, overruled them and got the likes of a Langerin and whatnot. But I do believe that the PF should have taken a stronger stance. You know what I mean? I agree with you, Jefferson. They should have said, listen, get on with it. You need to work together, because how can you have gone into the most important transfer window without a sporting director? Yeah. And it makes us look like amateurs. When you've got his nephew and him running the operation, what are agents going to think, let alone players? So it's no surprise that we got rejected by so many players in the transfer when we go for them. And I think we also went for the wrong targets. As well. But just to bring you in, Pete, Ginger said, get out, clickbait, Pete. He's in the Eddie Howe in cult leader with win. So what's your thoughts? What's your thoughts on Eddie Howe? Like, should he stay? Should he go? Has he done a great job? Is he thinks he could have done better? And do you think he's going to be here next season? So the floor is yours.
I've not seen Ginge for a while, man. I hope he's well. He hasn't heard me for a while, because I have not been kind to Eddie Howe in any way, shape, or form recently. So he hasn't heard what I have to say. But just really quickly on your argument with regards to Paul Mitchell, I think he was both right and wrong at the same time, and the reason being is because his argument of not being fit for purpose, as you just said to you, man, he's proven that by the fact of what we did in the summer, because the summer business wasn't fit for purpose, as we well have seen over the course of the season. But what he was wrong in is that thinking that he could come in and do everything and be this kind of magic wand. I don't know if you boys have touched on it, but it was been documented. A number of, are you hearing any?
There's a bit of feedback, just a bit, yeah.
I don't think it's from me, but I don't know. I can hear it a little bit.
I'll mute just in case.
Yeah, go on, carry on.
But yeah, it seems a bit better now. But just with regards to that, I remember Craig Hope writing a piece. Whether people believe what he says or not, I don't know. But he mentioned that he promised Eddie Howe and the ownership, Darren Eales, that he could get Mark Gay. And Eddie Howe and the ownership had said they don't think he was achievable, but he promised them that he would get it, and he failed in doing that. And I think that was part of his downfall, is that when you make promises that you can't keep, that's what then creates a massive problem. So I think he's right and wrong in both senses. In terms of Eddie Howe, and I've mentioned this before, if Eddie Howe does not get European football in any way, shape, or form this season, he has failed miserably this season. For me, Newcastle United are now built on what we've established as a club in the last 4 years as a team that should be, with the wage budget that we've got, with the transfer budget that we've spent in the summer, we are now a team that should be getting minimum European football. Let's be honest here, we're looking at Everton and Brentford that could be getting Europa Conference League football. For me, if they're finishing ahead of Newcastle United and getting Europa Conference League football, it's unacceptable, in my opinion. It is unacceptable that those teams with a way less budget and teams that arguably we could have probably had as fighting bottom half of the table, maybe in a relegation battle, and now finishing above us in the table, having just won a trophy in Champions League football. It's unacceptable. And as I said after the Derby loss, which I was there, and I think, D-Man, you were there yourself for that game, to see the club in this position is not okay. And Eddie Howe should absolutely be getting called and questioned for his job. There is no doubt about it. He absolutely should be. Now, am I Eddie Howe in or out? I've said to you, D-Man, you know, we've had this conversation previously on WhatsApp, is that for me, I've never been part of this conversation because I'm convinced that he's not going anywhere.
Oh, goodness, yeah.
He's staying at the club. Like, let's break this down. Ross Wilson is his friend, who's been employed as his sporting director. The CEO, David Hodgkinson, was pushed by Eddie Howe to see if he was okay with this signing. Both of those signings have come from Eddie Howe. Eddie Howe say so? Who out of those two people that are fresh in their roles are going to turn around and go, "You're not fit for the role, Eddie Howe. You need to go"? Let's break it down. Let's be real here. Who out of those two people are going to turn around and go, "You're not fit for this role. You've failed in your job. You're sacked"? None of them.
That's a problem. That's a problem. If he's got that much control.
So hold on.
So for me, I don't think he. For me, I don't think he's going to be out of role, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think he'll be here next season. But Genius raised a good point. Said thoughts on Liam Kennedy versus Luke Edwards case. Edwards is, in my opinion, on the club payroll. So on that, Carnell, what do you think about how the media, especially the Northeast media, and you could include Talk Sports, Sky Sports, whatever, how they are viewing Eddie Howe, the club, and the position that we're in? What were your thoughts on that? Because I think that they're scared to question him. A lot of them, some of them are starting to now as external, but they're protecting him. And there might be an agenda behind it, whether they want to be the next England manager or what. But you know, Newcastle should be grateful. What's your thoughts on it?
I think they're definitely protecting too much. I mean, he's achieved a lot, but at the end of the day, he's the best. He's the best of the best English manager that's out there, and I think that's important to the media. You know, they push him. I think the local media, like I watch his press conference and stuff. They never ask him the tough questions. They all seem to like pally him for my liking. Do you know what I mean? I think they protect him a lot, and I think a lot of it is to do with the fact that he is England's best manager, and do you know what I mean? This is the Premier League. They want to give English. They want to have an English manager that's up there, that's spoken about in the same conversations as the best managers in our league. Do you know what I mean? So I think definitely is protected, and I don't really know what the agenda is other than that. The fact that he's English and they seem like they're priming him for the England job. If Tuchel don't win the World Cup, I think Howe will be the favourite to get the England job, and that's the only way I could see him potentially going, is if maybe that comes along and he decides he wants to do that instead. But otherwise, I think you're right. I can't see him leaving.
Jeff, so what's your thoughts on the way the media are treating him and the fans?
Yeah, it reminds me of it's like mafia. So it's either that or a zombie film or some kind of horror film, because I don't know, man, if he's practicing some kind of juju. I don't know where he's found out about this, but everyone is under his trance and his spell. I've never seen anything like this in football, where there's this much favoritism. Maybe a little bit with Gareth Southgate. It felt like no matter what Gareth did, he was going to be backed. But with the Eddie thing, there's been more than enough. Don't get me wrong, there's been success. There's been success in his time, but there's been quite a few setbacks and failures and chinks in the armor. And he's rarely been called up on it. I think now is the most time that people have been alive to it. And actually, I think consciously, that is a big crack, because, like I said, it can only widen and grow. The issue will be is we've seen that Eddie can do well with a 1 game a week season. So, like I've said, if you stick with Eddie, it's not a 1 year thing, it's a 2 year thing. And that's a problem from a project basis, because he'll qualify for Europe again, but he'll flop again. So that's a problem, and that sets us back, because a Bruno suddenly becomes a 31-year-old, a Joe Linton becomes a 33-year-old, whatever it is, and then you're really having to kind of let go of players. So we need to see some kind of relentlessness where there is a transfer of power. The structure isn't subjective to Eddie, and I think at the first sign of danger at the beginning of next season, I'm talking within those first 10 games, if there's no significant improvement, he very simply has to go. But he's run out of lives, in my opinion. I don't understand, when you look at the data, when you look at the eye test, what is there that's encouraging to keep him in right now? I don't understand.
This is some of these comments. Big up Foxy. Foxy said, "90s must have some Paul getting an elite level guest on the show." So big up Foxy. Tom said, "You guys shouldn't be 12th in the league. You guys are having a poor season. As an Arsenal fan, you guys should be doing a lot better." So a question to you, Tom. I agree. Do you think Eddie Howe should stay, or do you think his time's up? But what do you guys think? I'll go to you, Pete. What do you think about the fact that, I don't know about you guys, but when I speak to, I say, rival fans or neutrals, they say, Eddie Howe's done a great job for us. Yes, we're having a poor season, but we have to remember where we've come from. So he saved us from relegation, 2 Champions League qualifications in 4 years, got us to a cup final against Man United, then actually won the cup as well. We had the best defense in the joint best defense in the league a couple of seasons ago, stuff like that, And they say that, whether we like it, they say that, the fact that he didn't get to spend for a few transfer windows, and then, he had to fight fires himself this summer, gone. Are we being a bit too, we're not being realistic enough? You know what I mean? Are we too over ambitious, run before we can walk? What do you say? I'll ask Conor after, but what do you say, speak to that?
No, I don't think so. I don't think we're being over ambitious. I'm certainly not. Like I said, I pitch Newcastle United now in a position where minimum Europa Conference League football should be the aim for Newcastle every single season. That's where I see us now. That's where we are as a club. I'm not going to come out here and say we must guarantee Champions League football, because we can't do that. And the reason we can't is because Man United are now up there pushing. Chelsea are now up there pushing. Let's not forget, when we initially got Champions League football, Chelsea were mid-table. Tottenham were floundering a little bit. We had teams that would normally be fighting up there dropped out, which allowed us to go in. We even finished above Liverpool that season. We can't always guarantee that. So it's always going to be a battle between those top 6 clubs to get Champions League football. It always is. However, we should be in that European bracket. And I put us alongside Aston Villa in that. For me, you got that top 6, and then you got Newcastle United and Aston Villa just behind. And that is your top 8. And that top 8, providing on Carabao Cup, FA Cup, should be guaranteeing you a European spot. And that's where I see Newcastle United. So I don't see it as being over ambitious. We should be in those positions. And this is why I say it's a monumental failure that we are going to, in my opinion now, not get European football in any way, shape or form. It's a failure. And with that comes criticism. It absolutely comes criticism. Now, for me, I think in a normal situation, I think Eddie Howe's position at Newcastle United would be under serious threat. I just don't think it is. And I think the only way it changes is if we keep going on a losing run, for example. Got 7 games left. 6 of them, I think, are more than winnable, by the way. No excuses. 1 game a week. He's getting his training that he wants, that he's been calling for all season. So there should be no excuses now. Bruno's back. Star's back. Miley's back. He's got his squad back together.
But the thing is,
no
this season,
he want to win. He'll walk. I think if he continues to lose, I think he'll end up walking.
Because the thing is, right, this season, it's fine. This season, I agree with a lot of the things you've said there. And the point that you made is very important that I just want to raise, right? You're right. We're not always guaranteed to be getting in Champions League. But if you look at this season, those teams that you mentioned, those other big teams have flopped, bro. Those teams have been terrible. This is the season that we should be getting Champions League, because we've only got, I think it's 52 points. I might be off 1 or 2 points, but I think we're like the team that's in 3rd place has got 52 points. Like Villa's only got 52 or something like that. We've only got like 42 points. There's only 7 games left in the season. It's like you haven't even had to be amazing or fantastic to get top 4 this season. Man United have only started playing well for the last 8 games or something. They've been non-existent all season. Liverpool's fallen off of a cliff. Villa are fighting on 3 fronts, so they're inconsistent as well. We, as you said, not every season is it a guarantee, but for me, that's a reason why I'm so hard on him being out as well, because I feel like this season was the perfect opportunity to prove you've learned from the last year last time we were in Europe. You've learnt from your mistakes there, and you've got the perfect opportunity this season. I won't expect us to win the Champions League. I won't expect us to win any cups, but have a decent run in the Champions League, and we should be there or there. It's the top 5 are gonna get Champions League as well. You know, we should be there or thereabouts. We should be nowhere. It shouldn't be a problem this year when you look at the competition around us.
I hear, and we don't have to. I mean, we could go back as far as that horrible week in football where we lost to West Ham away and then we went and lost to Brentford away just before the international break in November. Horrible week in football because they were just disgustingly bad performances. We don't even need to go back as far as that. If you go as far as Brentford at home, Everton at home, Aston Villa at home, if you put 3 wins on the board there, where we lost all 3 of them, that puts us in contention to Champions League football anyway. Just those 3 results.
And a lot of those games we were winning. A lot of those games we probably took the lead as well. Do you know what I mean?
22 points we've lost. We've lost from game-winning positions.
Well, I'm going to get to that. I'm going to get to that because
Carnell incidentally mentioned Man United. And if you remember, we were ahead of Man United before Carrick came in. Change the manager, you get, more often than not, you get a tune out of the players. So they made the right move, we didn't. And now they will likely get Champions League football.
On that note, I'm gonna bounce. That's the perfect time for me to bounce. Change the goddamn manager. That's what we need to do, boys. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Big up, Carnell, man. Big up yourself. Big up yourself.
Love my boys. Yeah,
respect, brother.
Appreciate it.
See you soon. Thank you. Everybody.
Yeah, man.
Get the likes up.
Smash. I'm gonna say smash the like. We've got 63 likes in the building. Let's get to 70. Let's get to 70 likes in the next 10 minutes. See what we can do there. But yeah. What I was going to say, you mentioned the games that we lost, right? We've got West Ham away, Brentford away, Brentford at home, Everton at home, amongst a few, the Liverpools, the Arsenals, whatever. Given the fact that we've gone into the season we knew we were going to play like 55, 60 games a season. Yeah, so I'll start with you, Jefferson. What is your main gripe about the way we've lost those games, right? Is it the fact that the way we set up, his lineup, or his in-game management? Which do you think is the most important factor? I know it's all of them, but what's the most important factor for you? Right? What's the most important factor for you?
For me, I think it's the in-game management, because even if you're going to start the game poorly, probably the hallmark of a top manager is one that can respond and be proactive and kind of, snatch something from the jaws of defeat, which, you know, we've seen a few highlights of that in cup competitions, but in the league it's been found wanting. So I think that kind of predictability, but that lack of in-game management is our problem, because I think anyone who's studied the tapes knows that we play the same way every time, and they know when Eddie's going to make the subs. So, you know, apart from maybe Rosignol, who's his junior, and 1 or 2 other managers that are weaker, he's never really got the better of like really high-end managers, you know. So that for me is a difficult one, because it almost feels like we're a bit toothless. We know that first 20 to 30 minutes we'll put the press on. They break through the press, then what? When the intensity comes down, then what? Okay, what? We were gonna come out into the second half. The performance is gonna dip again. You're then gonna wait 20 minutes, make 3 or 4 subs. And then what? It's a bit Steve Brucey here. What, you're hoping the subs will win you the game? That's not tactics. So these are the things I think we deserve better, quite frankly.
Just some of these comments here. Someone said, Yink said there's no super chat button. I think that might be the fact we're changing over the AdSense accounts. It might be something to do with that. I'm not so sure. Giniesta said, we can't play with intensity for long this season due to fixture congestion, so we park the bus in second halves and get punished for it. And big up Jar Rebels. Hope you're good. Hope you've subbed to the channel. We're trying to get to 600 subs by the end of the show. Hope you smash the like as well. We're on 67 likes. We're trying to get to 70 as well. Eddie has failed to prove he can coach a team in Europe this season, but the last time only an improbable Man U FA Cup victory kept us out. Interesting. So, Jar Rebels, are you Eddie in or you Eddie out? Let us know.
Can I just add a comment to that as well? Again, we've talked about it before, and I think Cuff left a comment that apparently in those final 5 games, I think we won 3, drew 1, lost 1. For me, that doesn't matter. We were in the driving seat, and Chelsea won 6 games in a row, and they overtook us. So we had Europa League football, and I think this has been a hallmark of Eddie's tenure, that there's been times where we've been in the ascendancy and we've let it drop. There's been times where we could have really taken advantage of a situation and we never do. There was obviously the cup final against Man United. There was that famous AC Milan game, which still stings in people's hearts today. there was, that 23-24 season where we got pretty much in the driving seat for Europa League football, and we let it slip. There was the home game where if we beat West Ham, we went up to 4th in the league. That happened, I think, this season as well. We're in a position to go top 4, and was it the 2-2 draw against Spurs or
every time we had opportunity to move at the table, we
he's
flop.
not a winner.
Yeah.
And I know it sounds silly saying that because he's won a domestic cup, but in the long run, he's not a winner. He's a plucky winner, which puts him in that typical British manager category, along with your
he gets a certain level and then that's about it. Yeah, I hear you. Ginny said we're 3 subs away from 600. So if you haven't subbed to the channel, please sub right now to get us to 600. That's the aim for the end of the show. We much appreciate it. Help your channel grow in that. John Robles has come back and said he's editing. Interesting. I hope you sub to the channel as well, because we talk about Eddie Howe a lot on his channel, as you can probably imagine. Pete, what's your thoughts then? What's the main reason why we are where we are, and the fact that we've dropped so many points from winning positions and stuff like that, and the defeats that we suffered? What is it for you, the most frustrating thing?
Exactly what you just said. Dropping points from winning positions. You go back through the games. You go back to Arsenal, for example, earlier on in the season at St James's Park. We were 85th minute we were in 1-0 up, and then we end up throwing away 2 goals and losing that game. I think both from organised set pieces, crosses into the box. Like, it just, you go back through West Ham, Murphy puts us 1-0 up. Brentford, Barnes puts us 1-0 up. You got Spurs at home, Spurs. Relegation for the Spurs. We go 1-0 up against them. We take the lead. We then go 2-1 up, and we manage to throw it away by a P-roller overhead kick that literally rolls into the goal. We got Chelsea, where we're 2-0 up at home at St James's Park. Like, we're in the driving seat there. You look at other games. You look at, we go Brentford at home. We 1-0 up with Botman. You go through the games and you look at it and you go, well, we've had so many great positions where normally we would go on and be solidified and would be hard to beat, and we would go through the motions to win that match. And it's been a common theme this season that when we go ahead 1-0, we just fall apart. And we did exactly that in the last game, in the derby. We were superb with our intensity, with our press. We took the game to Sunderland. We get the goal, well worked, Voltemada into Gordon. Gordon finishes 1-0 up. 15 minutes in, stops. All of a sudden, and D-Man, you were there, Jefferson, you would have been watching it on Sky. You see what happens after that. It's a case of all of a sudden, 5 minutes later, we're then defending on our 18-yard box.
It happens all the time.
And you know what's annoying by it? It's not even great football. Sunderland weren't having to do that much to get into our final third and get corners and consistently put pressure on us out of nothing. There's a mentality issue. I call them these players have got they've got the mentality of melts. That's what I've said about these players, because something fundamentally is wrong with these players, that they're dropping off, and it has to sit with the coaching staff, with the manager that are not changing this. Maybe it's these players just need to be shipped out. We did a show tonight on Loaded about a squad game, who will stay, who will go, and there's an argument that a lot of these players are just done at Newcastle, that just need to be gone. And there's all this context to it, but ultimately that is the reason why we're not sitting and fighting for Europa League, Champions League football, because we can't hold on to a lead. And that is our fundamental problem. That should not be happening with these players, with this squad of players, with the money that we've invested, with the wage budget of this. I think our wage budget is in the top 8 of the Premier League. Yeah. That in itself should be putting us in that position, and we're not. And as much as, look, I'm not Eddie Howe in, but I want Eddie Howe that took a chance on us when the likes of Conte and all the rest of it fobbed us off and didn't want the fight for the challenge, right? There's a part of me that really wants Eddie Howe to get it right, to be successful, to do the job right. But I'm not Eddie Howe in. I'm not a staunch Eddie Howe fan. Like, I would love him to turn it around and be successful, but ultimately I'm a Newcastle United fan. Ultimately, when it comes to the bottom of it, I don't care who represents us on the pitch. I don't care who represents us in the dugout. I want to win.
Exactly.
Can I add to that?
This is the thing that sorry, one second, Jeff.
Go on.
This is the thing. This is where my argument has always been. I know, for example, on your channel, because I watch you boys, got great channel, great discussion, okay, and I know it's very much Eddie Howe out, Eddie Howe in a lot of discussions on a lot of channels. I'm not that. I just want us to win, and if it means Eddie Howe leaving for that to happen, fine. If it means Eddie Howe turning around, changing his fundamentals, changing his style to make us win, I'm fine with that too. That's where I'm at right now. But I want us to be minimum European football every season and to be building the club off of the pitch to be that club that can be fighting at the top table. That's what I want for this club. And for me as a fan, that's where I'm at.
The thing is, from my perspective, like I agree with everything that you guys have said. And my main gripe with him is, I think someone mentioned in the chat about the fact that, you know, he's bought a lot of athletes, he plays the athletes, he's got one side of playing. It's the in-game management that frustrates me, yeah? Because time and time again, we get beaten by managers that make tweaks in-game. They can see, we start the game strong all the time, right? But after 15, 20 minutes or 45 minutes, managers figure us out and make these little adjustments, and Howe sits there like a plum, and everyone in the stand, everyone on TV can see what needs changing, and he don't address it. His idea of in-game management is like for like subs on the 60th, 65th minute, and expecting the same style of play from the same different kind of players, and expecting a different result. That's nonsense. Yeah, not once have you shown that you can tweak things effectively to affect the game. Like the biggest embarrassment we had was the Barcelona game, where obviously we're trying this centre back press, right? This man-to-man press, the centre backs pushing forward. Hansi Flick came out and said, we saw what they were doing. So what we did was we deliberately pulled our players out of position, because that pulled their players out, our players out of position, and we were lost. How many times did they cut us open? Because Dan Burn was in no man's land. Yeah, didn't know where to go. Didn't know.
And he moved him out to the middle as well.
He moved him exactly to
That's part of the problem, though.
Exactly what I'm saying.
Because
I'm thinking back to the Brighton game.
Dan Burn is not that guy.
Exactly. Remember the Brighton game?
The manager keeps going to him.
But that's what I'm saying. Remember the Brighton game?
Problem.
I agree. The Brighton game when we lost, I think we lost 2-1. We started very well in that game. Whistler went from a 4-4-2 to a 4-5-1, whatever it was, and they absolutely bodied our midfield. Right, we couldn't get near it. The goal that we could see there first, I still remember it. The way they cut us open, that 1-3 pass to Welbeck was embarrassed. I think both goals came through, cutting through the midfield. But it happens all the time. Our midfield is left so open, and that's also because we don't have a designated 6. Eddie Howe likes his fluid 8s, but when they're present, it's all good. But how many times do we see one ball through and we're on the back foot? We're on the back foot. Like I said,
that's why I wanted to add D-Man to Pete's comments that about the mental block. I think there is a mental block, but I also think it's a technical block as well. Because of the personnel we don't have players who are confident enough in possession. In other words, they're willing to submit the ball because they know they're not good enough to contain it and manipulate it. If you notice, you've seen players like Adam Wharton. We've seen it with a Luka Modric. If the game's getting too hot, give it to him, give it back, give it to him, give it back. Control the tempo. We don't have that. So the key to Eddie's success initially was we was always on the front foot, and it was built on chaos and transition. If you look at us under Steve Bruce before Eddie Howe came, it was counterattack. Everyone remembers famously, I think one of his final games against Man United away, we were literally on the goal line playing like a 5-4-1 and expecting St. Maximan and whoever it was to get up 70, 80 yards up the pitch. So what's happened since Bunce came in was because of the injury debacle in 23-24 where it overexerted our players. I think Eddie's been stuck because it's halfway house. He's like, I can't over push it for too long. And I think it sends mixed signals. But if you add that to the fact we've not signed the players who can hold on to the ball, it shows that Eddie's not looking to evolve. And that alone should tell us it's time to go. We need players who are comfortable in possession. He will always sign physical attributes, athletic attributes, speed. And the
And
game has
preferably
moved
Prem
on,
proven.
man. That's
Yeah.
bottom 6 quality, that is. The game has moved on, unfortunately.
Just to add to what you've said, like Eddie Howe last season tried to change the style where we were in the previous seasons where we were all very much athletic and we were all running. If you look at the beginning of last season, there was a lot of talk of our possession stats being up, where normally we would be low possession, counter-attacking football and getting on at them. We changed that. And in the beginning of last season, we were very much all about possession and holding the ball. But we weren't creating chances. We weren't putting the ball in the net. We weren't doing what we normally did. And it's almost like when he got to the defeat at Brentford away, and it was that turning point in the season, he almost reverted back to type, as in, we can't do this possession football. For the reasons you just said, Jefferson, you've got Joe Willock that's not good with the ball at his feet. Joe Linton, for as much as I love the guy for his physicality and his work rate, he's not good with the ball at his feet. Like there are players in that team that are not good. Dan Burns not good with the ball at his feet. Like they're just not. I would even argue the likes of Tino Livramento, he's a runner, but he's not technically very good. You watch his first touch. His first touch is like it just bounces off him every time. It's not great. And we've got players like that. Sandro Tonali, for as good as he is athletically, his range of passing is not great at times, and he does give the ball away. And this is part of the problem, is that I almost feel that he wants to transfer and evolve into that more possession-based play, but we've just not got the players for it. And we're in, I'd like to think, is a bit of a crossroads right now. Not necessarily with Eddie Howe, just with Newcastle United at this moment in time. This group of players are in a crossroads because we don't know where we are. Our identity's gone. We're not this intensity athleticism type of football, but we're also not the technical side that you talked about. We're almost in the middle, which is why we've had so many mixed pieces of football this season that we've watched, and a lot of it hasn't been good. And this is why this summer is crucial. And this is why I think a lot of these players need to move on. And the key to that is a number of players coming in that are technically gifted, that are good on the ball, to transfer it.
Do you think, though, he's going to go away from his philosophy when he was questioning an interview, wasn't he? And he just said, we just do the same thing, but do it better. And that is with those 3
he said,
A's.
we don't need a plan B. He said plan A needs to be better. That's what he said. But
exactly
my thing,
the same. They had
Lewis
Cook. What was it? Lewis Cook, Jefferson Lerma, and Philip Billing played exactly the same way. Josh King, Fraser, Wilson. It's repeat. He's never going to evolve.
But what we'll say, there's a comment from Yinks here. He did say something was going to mention. He said the reason why our possession was up is because teams gave us the ball. We can't break teams down. And I think if you look at, I mentioned it this season, beginning of this season, he tried to slow it down a bit. He did try to slow it down, and I thought the intention was maybe second half of the season he's going to go hell for leather. But then, like I said, he abandoned that style anyway, went there anyway. But I don't know if it was a case of deliberate pride or the fact that team said, and I said it through so, like Ying said, give Newcastle the ball, they can't break down a low block to save their life. Right now, is that because Eddie Howe doesn't know how to, or is it the personnel? Because my question is, and Jefferson raised it, if we get those players in this summer, just hypothetically say that Ross Wilson gets a number 10, a DM, whatever, a couple technical creative and players that can hold the ball. Do you think that Eddie Howe, and I raised it earlier in the show, do you think he's going to try those players, especially early on, if at all, or still go back to what he knows? Yeah. Do you think he's capable of doing that? Because we've never seen it. We've never seen effective possession style play, being able to slow the game down, control it, and break down a low block. Do you think he's going to change his ways because he's got more time on the training field now? Because we're not going to get Europe. You know what I mean? Do you think, Pete? Do you think he's actually going to try it? Do you think he's going to be effective with it?
It's a great question, D-Man. It's a great question, and it's the £1 billion question. Is he going to be able to change it? Ultimately, his job depends on it. Being honest with you, his job depends on it. You're absolutely right in what you said. He hasn't changed his style. He's always been very much tunnel visioned in, this is my style, this is my way. I'm not going to deviate from this because I know in my mind, this works. But and he has said in previous interviews, press conferences where he said, you know, I just want to make plan A better. I don't look at plan B, etc., etc. But a lot's gone on since he made those comments. A lot of bad football and bad results have gone on since he made those comments. And I would like to think that he's looked at that and been critical of himself and gone, I need to change here. That's what I'm hoping, because I'll be honest with you, if he doesn't change, he will lose his job. He would absolutely lose his job, because he has to change. This style and this way of playing has been found out. The all intense, all press, all action football has been found out. True Geordie made a great point. Brian, I know him well. I speak to him on a regular basis.
Get him on the show, Pete. Get him on the show.
I would love to, but honestly, he is a nightmare to get hold of. Just, you know, he's busy with his boxing, with his own show.
Yeah, I see.
I know he's good friends with Paul from Tomb Review, so he does a little bit with them. But I do speak to, and he made a great point. The line in the midfield, what a lot of teams have been doing, even from last season, even from the season before, you put a number 10 in that little pocket, and we can't figure it out because it's an easy tactic to fall behind, which is why I've been calling for it for the last 3 years. We need a number 6 destroyer to sit there and just break it all up, and to say, like, almost like a Tiote type player that's just going to break up everything. A Manu Kone, for example, the AS Roma. Him or an Edison, those type of players, they're on my list as potentials of players that will just sit there, right? They won't do what Tonali does, because Tonali is a good 6, but what he does, he deviates from that position. He goes pressing, and sometimes in games, he ends up pressing higher than Bruno and Joe Linton, or Bruno and Ramsey, and he goes missing, and it allows for that gap to be exploited. But a number 6 destroyer that just sits there and goes, you're not passing here, will completely change that tactic and allow us to break down attacks and allow us to continue counter-attacks. It just something really simple for me. And I'm not talking as this super tactician. This is just from me observing and watching Newcastle matches. Like, I'm not here saying that I know more than Eddie Howe and any other coach. I'm just giving my opinion on what I observe. And I just think a number 6 destroyer will completely change the way we play for the better. And I just think that just little things like that need to be changed. But
if we don't get a number 6, we're finished.
Even Lewis Miley, we've got him. I personally think he can play 10. I really, really do. You know, instead we're putting him at right back.
In the number 10.
Right. I think Miley further up the pitch could be a real threat, because he's someone that can thread it through. He's got a good shot. And surprisingly, as we've seen, he's actually got an aerial threat as well. So he could be Lampard-esque popping up into the box. But
we've got one game a week. This is the time to experiment for the remainder of the season. You know what I mean?
The pre-season was the time to experiment.
No, it was. But what I'm saying is, yeah, but that's gone. That's what I'm saying. That's gone.
We had a 15.
I hear it. But what I'm saying is, we have to figure out what we've got now. Yeah, we've got 7 games left, 1 game a week. There is no excuse for him not to try things. Like Pete said, everyone's back now. Everyone's back.
Man, apart from Rosinia in the Premier League, can we name a team where it's like the manager is being given time to play about in the sandpit and experiment and learn?
That's what I'm saying. No, but what I'm saying
why is the club on hold?
I hear it, Jefferson.
A man can get up to
but
standard.
Jefferson, what I'm saying is, I'm not disagreeing with you. What I'm saying is, do you not want him to play Viscera or Voldemort up front? Do you not want to see to play Lewis Miley in the 10? Don't you want him to see? No, but Jefferson, what I'm saying is, he's done. So do I. But the fact is, it's not done. There's 7.
It is.
My question to you is, would you rather him do exactly what he's doing now for the next 7th game? I'm not saying whether he's going to save his job or not, but would you rather him do exactly what he's doing now, or experiment, Miley in the 10, you know, Viscera up front, Voldemort up front? You know, what would you rather? Would you rather suffer this nonsense that we're seeing, or try something different? Even if it's on your way out.
For the good of our club, I think he needs to go. So if we continue on the same trajectory, kamikaze plane, so be it.
Yes, that's what
sorry,
I'm saying.
man.
That's what I'm saying. End of the
If
day,
he manages to pull a couple of wins, we're gonna get the whole. Oh, there you go. And if we
forget the
give him
result.
another
Forget,
200
yeah,
million
yeah.
pounds in the
No, but
summer, he's gonna turn it around.
I think you're misunderstanding what I'm saying.
As much as you're frustrated, sorry, D-Man, as much as you're frustrated, and I hear it, I get it. As much as you're frustrated about Eddie Howe still being at the club, I keep saying it. He's going to get that budget. He's going to get it, unless he walks, unless he makes the decision to leave himself. He is going to be at the club. He is going to get that budget. He is going to get that summer and that pre-season and at least the beginning of the season to turn it around. As much as anyone wants it or doesn't want it, for me, it's a non-argument because it's going to happen.
He's a Freemason, I think. I think he's a Freemason.
Listen, but we really explained the control that this brother's got in the club. But
I'm not saying a word. I'm not saying a word.
Listen, what I'm saying is, we know for the talk is that he's gonna stay. Yeah, he's gonna stay, right? Whether we like it or not, right? But I want to see something different in the 7 games that we've got left. Because, like I said, I'm tired of watching us the way we're performing at the moment. I'm tired of seeing the same old dross. Even if we lose, trying something different. At least you've tried something different, showed that you're willing to try something different. My problem is he probably revert to type and do the same nonsense, play Gordon up front, play Trippier right back, keep Dan Burn in the team for his World Cup hopes. It makes no sense, but we know he's probably going to do it. But let me get to some of these comments. We're on 73 likes, so big up. There's 88 in the building at the moment. Let's see if we can get to 80. If we can get to 80 likes, because we've got about 10 more minutes, and then we're gonna sign out. But let me get to some more of these comments. Big Ink said nothing will change if we win our next 2 games with Gordon up front. Okay, probably true. Trull said we can't keep how it will be a shite show transfer window and a miserable next season, and the Bournemouth fans warned us about this. Yeah, agreed. Who said something about Lampard? Lampard-esque is an awful take. Oh, is that about the money?
Hey, did you not see that header? The headers he scored, yeah? You know what I'm saying?
William said, why does it come down to experiment? First league games into the season. What the F? Listen, I hear you, William, but I'm saying we're here now. 31 games gone. My question is, do you want to see the same old dross? Or do you want to see something
different? If it means
different?
he's going to get sacked, yes.
But he's not. You know,
he's willing to make the sacrifice. I'm willing to make the sacrifice.
I need. Look, I feel that. Look, Nick Voldemort has been wasted in midfield as a number 8. He's not that. He's you know, I could see it out as a number 10, but he isn't even that. For me, I need to see in the next 7 games that he's playing as our striker, that he's our guy.
I would see both of them up front. I want to see both Mother and Vissa. I want to see both of them together. Like
I don't want to see Jan Vissa play for Newcastle United in this team. It can come on. It can come on and give a cameo. I need to see Jan Vissa go to Saudi and rack up that 42 million that Saudi pay out that extra change so we can get our book value back up. I need to see him gone. I've said it on Loaded. I down that hill. I need to see him gone. It's a mistake.
We're for another striker, apparently.
We made a mistake. With him. And look, injuries have got in the way. Granted, fine, I give you that. But here's a mistake. You saw Aston Villa with Daniel Marlin. They signed him. He didn't get in the Champions League squad last season. They played him a little bit this season. Then they've gone, you know what? It ain't worked. And just moved him on to Roma for 20 million. Sometimes you make mistakes. And sometimes you hold your hands up and go, you know what? My bad. We made a mistake. Let's move him on. And we need to do exactly that with Jan Vissa. I don't want to see him start games for Newcastle United. I've seen enough as it is, right? He's 30. He's 30. He's going to be 31 in September. Let's try and see.
Saudi was banging his drum. Man was banging his drum.
And I still think we can get a tune out of him. Not this. I think he deserves a pre-season and see. Because I don't. They talk about we're going to loan him. To me, there's no point in loaning him. Yeah, because I'll be honest. If Eddie stays, Voldemort gone. He's gone. Yeah, but much as we don't want to see it, he's probably fed up of playing in midfield. Bayern are going to come calling, or someone's going to bail him out and say, you know what, you deserve better. His agent must be looking at Newcastle sideways, thinking, what have I done? So I think if Eddie stays, He will not stand in Baltimore's way should a suitable bid come in for him. But in terms of Visser, I still think, like Carnell was saying earlier in the show, I still think there is something that can be done with him. Yeah, he isn't match. He needs to get the games. He needs to get the rhythm. I hear what you're saying, Pete. But for me personally,
try him on the left.
At least try something.
He played.
Try something.
Those times he did play left for Brentford when they had Ivan Toney, and then they had my man, what's his name, Mbeumo on the right hand side. So he can do like inside curve runs, but we have
just quickly
play the ball through.
We're 1 subscriber away from 600, so please, if you haven't subbed to the channel, we're trying to get to 600 before we sign off because we're going to be here for another 5-10 minutes. Please, appreciate it.
Minutes, blooming heck, mate.
I know. I had one more question. But first of all, Ant said, question for you: would you be happy with Bruno, Miley, Ramsey as a starting midfield three next season as the best three? Minus any summer business. So what do you reckon, those three? Would you be happy with that? I don't think that's a bad midfield.
Well, that means we are looking to play with the ball. And as we've seen in recent games, Ramsey's actually been the one that's come a bit deep to collect the ball. That would be a good sign. They've all technically got some kind of attacking / goal threat in them. Or it might work one way where Bruno's more disciplined and it allows Ramsey to get further forward. Remember, he was more attacking with Villa. But again, kind of like Pete was touching on earlier, I just think we need to move away from the three in midfield. If Eddie does that, it could be a sign of a change.
Jeff, just go back to the PSG away game where we had Tonali and Ramsey in the double pivot. Just look back to how good that was, how well we played in that game. They're the Champions League winners. They're the holders in their own patch. And Sandro Tonali and Jacob Ramsey in the double pivot with Willock just beyond them. That worked a treat. The double pivot can work. You've just got to have the right personnel to play in it. For me, I think Maida can play in double pivot. For me, Ramsey's already proved he can play in double pivot. I just need a little sprinkle of stardust to be added into that midfield. Get rid of Willock, move him on. We all know he's done at Newcastle. Move him on. Joe Linton, I think if Sandro leaves, I think Joe Linton will stay. If Sandro stays, I think Joe Linton might go. I think Saudi, again, might well be calling. For him, it was linked last season in the summer. He might well be one that goes. But I just need that little bit of sprinkle of quality with someone that's technically gifted.
Angelo Stiller.
To be fair,
him and Voltemada have a great relationship. That would be brilliant.
I would. But I think with all this noise about Man United, just my own opinion, all this noise about Man United getting Tonali, etc., I think they will probably be the ones to get Stiller because they've been heavily linked with him from last season. But absolutely, you would absolutely take him in there. Don't put it past Keith Smith coming to Newcastle United in summer. Don't put it past Keith Smith coming because yes, Real Madrid and some other teams have been linked with him. But the one thing I always kept hold of when we were linked with him is that he wants to play regular football. What better opportunity if Sandro leaves and you're going, right, Sandro's gone, you can be the guy in our team who's just been called up to the Dutch national squad. He started in his first game the other day. Give him the opportunity to be the guy, creative spark in the team, someone that likes to pick passes and keep the ball and technically very gifted. That type of player. If we can't get a Stiller, someone like him, adding him to that mix instead of Tonali, then you get rid of Willock and you get a number 6 destroyer in. And what you've got then is a really well-rounded group of midfielders that can do pretty much everything.
Pete, and that profile you just mentioned, do you think the club would sanction basically a re-signing of Anderson at 100 mil?
Oh no, please no.
Or a Wharton at 80 to 100 mil, based on that profile you just said that they fit Eddie to a T. Do you think they would do it?
If I'm going English, and I mean English, I mean if I'm going Premier League, I think a lot of our business will be done in Europe or South America. Personally, this summer, I think expect very little to be happening in England. And I think I backed that guy. I backed Ross Wilson. I spoke to Forest fans that saw his work, and they were gutted to lose him. They were really impressed with the stuff that he did and the signings that he made, and they liked how he went about his business as a sporting director or technical director, however you want to see it in his role there. I genuinely back him in the summer to get the business done, and I think he's going to take a lot of the hold of what we do business wise. If we do go Premier League English in terms of signings, and we do let Sandro Tonali go, for me, my first choice would be Adam Wharton. I'm going Adam Wharton because I think he stylistically fits Newcastle United perfectly.
I think we're going for him. I think we need for him.
I think we could get him. I think we could absolutely get him and sell him the project of where we want to go, 1 game a week, fight for Champions League football, and being a really key cog in that. Anderson, I would love Anderson at Newcastle United, but I just think the money that they're going to want for him.
Yeah, it's crazy.
He's an England star, not just a player, not just a squad member, not a Gordon where you just be in the squad and just a part of it. He is the main cog, which I think will be a part of England in the World Cup. He's a starring player for Forest. Forest don't need to sell him unless they get relegated. That'll be different. And they're looking at 80+ million, which I don't think Newcastle United are willing to spend. And I don't think, honestly, it's right for Newcastle to spend that level of money on one player. We made that mistake in last summer. I just don't think we need to do that. I think our money needs to be better used elsewhere. And I think Adam Wharton we can get for a cheaper price that can do an equal job. Just my opinion.
Before we go, can someone verify? Have we hit the 600 mark? Someone please verify.
We have indeed.
601. Much appreciated, everybody, for helping us. We much appreciate helping the channel grow. Much appreciated, man. We try to bring the good content. So I hope you're enjoying. Stay with us because we're only going to get better and better. Last question before we leave. Now, we've got 7 games left. First of all, we run 78 likes. 2 more likes to 80 likes. And I've asked for a lot this today, but we much appreciate for the last ask. I don't like begging, so please, but just two more likes. That'd be much appreciated. But yeah, we've got 7 games left.
His comment, bro.
What
about Wharton?
What that he would misprofile him?
I'm just imagining Yink say that. You know what, bro? I thought I hated Eddie the most. There's some people that really hate this brother. I thought I was up for the tree.
They're well at home here, innit? They're well at home here.
There's people outdoing me out here, bro. Anyway.
All right, second to last question, Connor. Would anyone take Belieber? Because his stock has kind of gone down a bit this season. Ooh. Yeah. So he might be, need a fresh challenge. Brighton, I think, will be willing to get rid of him for a decent price. Would you take him, Jefferson?
Very much. I mean, he fits a Eddie type player. He's got physical attributes, speed, strength, power. Would be defensively sound. Give us a bit of bite, and could potentially be a long-term Joe Linton replacement. However, the kind of fees being talked about before was like 100 million. If that has dropped and you're looking at a kind of 50 to 60 million range, why not?
Okay. Pete, what do you reckon? You take him?
Nah, I agree with Jefferson. I mean, look, as a player, I think he's a talented boy. I just think Brighton had pitched him too high, in my opinion. Coming into the transfer window with Man United, they were talking like 100 million, etc. All this kind of nonsense. They've priced him in a Moise Caicedo bracket because they saw him as being that guy, and for me, he's not there. He just isn't there. He's a very good player, but he's not Moise Caicedo level. And I think they've realised with the little dip in form here and there that he's not that guy. Someone put in the chat, I think it was Gene Esther. Gene Esther put 45 to 50 million, I think, is his bracket. I think if he is available at that sort of price, I think Newcastle would absolutely be interested in him. But equally, I think Man United may well come back into the table as well. Yeah, bigger wages. That's what we look, guys. We went through the mill. Newcastle fans went through nightmare last summer because we were fighting with Chelsea, Man United for the same sort of players. We have to upgrade it. We cannot go through another summer fighting with those guys because their wages and transfer budget is just beyond us.
Yeah,
we have to think smart. And that's
why Ross Wilson has to be, he's got a key role to play. And I think that's why we brought him in specifically because of what he's done at Forest, like you said. But before we go, first of all, we're on 80 lakhs, so thank you very much for that as well. Last question Very last question. We've got 7 games left. How many of those 7s do we win? Yeah. Honestly. So I'll start with you, Jefferson. How many do we win?
I'm just gonna cheat and have a very quick look. Okay. For some reason, wheel spinning. But if I remember from memory, because I think we got Forest away, Bournemouth away,
Bournemouth home. Bournemouth
Bournemouth
from
home,
Brighton.
Palace away,
Yeah.
Fulham away.
Fulham away, Arsenal away, West Ham at home, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say we beat West Ham at home.
Unless it means Spurs getting relegated.
Yeah. I'm gonna be real with
I'm
you.
joking.
I think we get 1, maybe 2 wins max out of the last 7.
Serious?
Wow. I say 3 wins and 1 draw. 3 wins, 2 draws, and 2 losses.
I think there'll be a lot of draws in there, by the way. The context is because those teams, like I mentioned earlier in the show, Pete, you wasn't here at the time, but the context was they all have something to play for. Arsenal want to get the league over the line. Fulham on the last day might still be in contention for 8th place in terms of Conference League. And a majority of these teams that we arrogantly thought we would beat last season beat us as well. So again, Forest still fighting for their lives. Bournemouth is more about the Eddie Hoodoo. We just can't seem to beat them. It's not that they're better than us. And then Palace again. What is our record there? So it all starts to compound a little bit. Not to mention we're not very confident at the moment. So
I think Bournemouth, Brighton, Palace, and Arsenal are the games that we won't win. But some of them we will draw. But Pete, what would you reckon?
I'm putting pressure on these boys. I've already said that. I think we're not getting European football, but I'm putting pressure on these boys. These boys deserve the pressure. They've performed this season. I'm looking at the fixtures that you've talked about. So we've got Palace away, then Bournemouth at home. Then I think we've got Arsenal away. I don't expect anything from Arsenal. But then you've got Brighton at home, West Ham at home, Forest away, Fulham away. Like, you got those games. I'm putting pressure on these boys. I'm not saying we're going to get it. I'm expecting these boys to put out 5 wins. I'm expecting it. I don't care where they come from. I'm putting pressure on these boys. These boys have undercooked Newcastle United this season. They need to put this right. 1 game a week. They get a full week of training. Anyhow gets everything he's been asking for all season. These boys have underperformed in a derby twice. This club is on the floor right now. They need to put it right. 5 wins. I'm saying it now. They need to get 5 wins minimum.
Okay.
Pete doing his Kevin Keegan there.
I love it. I love it.
It's not even that I love it. I'm expecting that reaction from the players.
Ambition.
If they say who they are that they say they are, I'm expecting big turnarounds in these next few games. I'm expecting it. 3 weeks rest for a lot of these lads. Ramsdale's just been sent home. A lot of the lads that are on international duty are kind of not really playing maximum level of football, so they're not going to come back tired. Maybe tonight because he'll play the 2 games. All the others, no excuses. Turn up at Selhurst Park. Put a performance in. Jefferson, you're right. Our performance at Selhurst Park's shocking. Hoodoo against Bournemouth. Hoodoo against Brighton.
Yeah, that's got
turn it round.
Put money on Danny Welbeck and Yankuba Minte to score because they always seem to do it.
Listen, on that note,
as long as we win 2-1, that's okay. That's okay.
Listen, on that note,
you hear that from Pete.
I hear it. Ambition
over excuses.
That's it.
On these boys need pressure. Absolutely. No holding back.
We're going to leave it there. Thank you for all those who joined us in the chat. Thank you for all your likes, your comments, and getting us to 600 plus subscribers. We much appreciated. It means a lot to the channel, means a lot to us. Thank you, Carnell, for coming on. Great guest. Welcome on anytime. And thank you, Pete, for coming on. Loaded Mag, for those who don't know, I'm sure you know in the chat, Loaded Mag, they got a great content out there, Pete and the guys. So we'll put his description in the chat and stuff. But yeah, as Ginny said, like, hype, and all that stuff. We should have the super chat function back next time we come on, for those who tried today. But yeah, much appreciated. We will be back probably next week. It's international break, innit? So we'll probably be back next Sunday, reviewing the latest instalment for Newcastle United away to Palace. I'll be at the game. Pete, you at the game?
Well, hold this space.
We'll see. We'll see.
But it's not next week. It's the week after.
Oh yeah, because it's FA Cup, innit? Oh my God! What are we going to talk about next Sunday? Jesus Christ!
That's what I said. It's a 3-week break. No excuses, guys. We must turn up. We must turn up.
Like Colin said, congrats to the Newcastle under 15 winning the International Cup. So big up. Yeah. There is hope with the youth. So maybe in a few years' time, we might see them when Howe's not here.
That young kid that keeps scoring free kicks. They're calling him the next Beckham, aren't they?
Yeah.
Best in the country. The under 15s currently.
So you will see them in 4 years' time, 5 years' time when Howe's not going to be here. We'll have a manager that plays the youth. So we'll see. But listen, smash the likes on the way out.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you for the hype comments and keep hyping if you can for this one as well. We'll be back next week talking more things Newcastle United. Thanks a lot, Pete, again. And until next time, we're out. Peace.
Peace.